Hello and good evening and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps for the first round of Season 5 of the Virtual Motorsport Series Contender and LMP2 Combined Championship. This is, of course, an endurance round. 2 hours, 25 minutes of racing ahead of us. I'm joined not by Juho Sopanen, sadly. Didn't seem to get the memo that the endurance rounds start about an hour earlier, so I am completely alone, but for the presence of my broadcast director, Niclas Domino. So I guess I'll just do the best that I can. I've commented alone before. I've done a lot of things alone. It's just a natural state of being for me at this point. So here we go. But anyway, this is a very, very exciting round. We have got 19 hypercars, 19 GT3s, and 22 LMP2s. All looking to do battle. 40 minutes of qualifying has just begun, and our GT3s have just come out the pit lane. It led by Corbinian Windele, who you may recognize was the winner of the opening round of the Tier 1 split, which used to be the Silver split, of course, our third tier in Virtual Motorsport Series here on Le Mans Ultimate. So Windele, of course, getting off to a great start there, and hoping to replicate that here at Spa in the Porsche 911 Evo that he drives, of course, for DC Racing, if I'm not mistaken. Or is it DCS Racing? Yeah, it is DCS Racing. There we go. Two different organizations entirely. But there is Artyom Manisha, himself racing for the Visceral team, most recently successful in the Platinum split with Lewis Werrell, of course, the British F4 championship leader as well. But Artyom Manisha has actually finished in the top 4 in the top split in Pro. He has also been competing for race wins here in Contender split in the past as well. So Manisha, the Belarusian driver, another of our favorites here as we look at Windele beginning his first flying lap here of Spa-Francorchamps, going out through La Source, the hairpin, now down towards Eau Rouge and Radion, a very arresting piece of track over the curbs either side. This is not a place where you really want to run side by side with anybody in the race, but it's great for setting up a move down the Camel Straight, which you see Windele negotiating now. Building up speed, 257, 258 kilometers per hour in 6th gear, and then suddenly down on the brakes, down to 2nd gear as he goes through Le Combe. Of course, first out the pits, no surprise to see him fastest on the timing screens. But Bram van der Tang, his teammate, of course, the DCS Racing Orange, the Van der Tang, the Dutch driver, has actually gone a little bit quicker than him in the first sector, but that itself has been beaten by Mark Sideruk, another Virtual Esports driver in the Aston Martin, of course, and now Alessandro Alfano has set a 37.8 in the first sector, go fastest of anybody there. Now down out of Pujon and into the Fanier, or Piff Paff chicane, it's as it's sometimes called. Windele over the curb, very far, almost into the gravel. There goes the Porsche. So Corbinian definitely on the ragged edge at this point. He is temporarily fastest in Sector 2, but that's beaten by Lucas Konkretel, as you can see there. And now Strahinja Zoranovic in the Lexus has gone fastest. So Zoranovic is, of course, the Serbian driver for Shazoo Sedas Ignitas, is the name of his team. But you'll recognize Zoranovic. He had a lot of strong showings in qualifying in the previous Contender season, in Season 4 as well. Now, out of the bus stop chicane, over the curb and towards the line comes Corbinian Windele. What is his first time going to be? It's a 219.719. Here comes the Lexus of, I believe, is that Zoranovic? Konkretel goes like Zoranovic sits to 218 or 216, 218.9. So there we go. That puts him ahead then of Windele and Van der Tang, who are quite evenly matched, just 2 tenths apart. Manisha goes up to 2nd fastest. 4 tenths though off of Zoranovic. So Zoranovic's first time, very impressive, but not quite as impressive as Mark Sideruk, who has gone purple in the final sector to go fastest of anybody there. 2:18.770, so 2/10 clear of Zoranovic. Davide Canton has now gone third fastest for Renova competition. As we look at that is Michael Thomas for the 01 esports team, just starting his first flying lap then, or should I say second flying lap for the no, it is his first flying lap in the BMW, of course. There is the McLaren 720S of Julian Heno for Shadow 1 Esports, who is making another appearance here. Of course, Heno and his teammate Gurian were consistent top 5, top 6 point scorers last season as well. Mattia Pancia, pole setter from last season for Renova competition, just goes ahead of his teammate Davide Canton to go third fastest. And I believe, sorry, I've been ignoring him for a minute or two, just joining us now is Mr. Ollie Shakespeare, I believe is going to try and fill in for Juho Sopanen for the rest of qualifying then. Not long to go then, as Julian Heno goes ninth fastest. The McLaren 720S, certainly not the car of choice, but here comes the Mustang of Congratel, who has actually gone very fast in the middle sector here. So it looks like they're all getting the tires up to temperature after their first efforts then, Ollie.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just having a couple of little hang-ups here, getting everything sorted for the live timing, but I should be with you any minute. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to restart my game, so just give me 2 minutes and I'll be live with you.
Sure thing. I can send you the live timing if you so need it.
I've managed to get that sorted.
There we go. Okay, so over the line comes Lucas Congratel for Shadow 1 Esports then. Reminder, of course, the GD3s will have to stop in about 2 minutes 57 seconds time once the clock hits 30 minutes. So we're getting into our final laps here. Congratel has gone fastest though, as you can see. 2 minutes 17.720, so just 9 thousandths quicker than Zoranovic. Manisha goes third fastest, and this is Vladislav Kolosov for Russian Rise Esports, the Russian driver. Purple in the middle sector, crucially so. The Lexus really being put through its paces. Alessandro Alfano for DC Racing goes fourth fastest, but where is Kolosov going to go? He's going to immediately displace Alfano and take that fourth fastest time, with Pasoni slotting in right in between them for Tatum Racetech Esports then. So currently, with just 2 minutes to go, we have Sidorik, Congratel, Zoranovic, Kolosov, Pasoni, Mikolai Hatrushki, Alfano, Canton, Manisha, and Felivo Dipolito, your top 10 there. So very, very competitive, as you can see. Exactly the same time set by the 3 decimal places by Sidorik and Congratel. And then only 9 thousandths behind in third is Zoranovic, as Mattia Panci goes up to 7th fastest. And here comes the Porsche of Maxime Wendler for the ERE Race Esports team. Wendler going 5th fastest there, just behind Kolosov, to the tune of 2.5 tenths or so. So Congratel is in the pits. I don't think he will get another lap out of this. Sidorik, I believe, is still out there, and so too are Zoranovic and Kolosov then. So we have got an Aston Martin currently on provisional pole at the moment there, but a lot of challenges from the Lexus and Porsche camp, Ollie. Manisha in the Corvette sets the fastest first sector. He's just coming up to the sector 2 split. Personal best, 2 cents up there as well. So this could be a really good late improvement from Artyom Manisha. Can it get him on the front row? Zoranovic, or yellow flag caused by Stranger Zoranovic, so Zoranovic is done. Let's see what happened to him. Coming out of Stavilo towards Blanchimont. This is a very fast section of the track. As he just come to a stop, he's realized that lap's not an improvement, and he's not really got the time to set another one there. 35 seconds left on the clock. Kolosov, purple in the middle sector. Manisha, though, has still got the fastest first sector. Sidorik, our current pole setter. Manisha has stolen that pole off of him. 2 minutes 17.549. That is nearly 2 tenths clear of Sidorik in the Aston Martin there. So the first sector making the difference there, but Kolosov is looking very, very rapid in sector 2. Has he done enough in the third sector to steal pole position? Back off of Manisha to the line comes the Russian driver. It is going to be third fastest. There we go. So the time just slipping away at 0.129 off of pole position in the end there. Manisha only 0.047 ahead of Sidorik there.
incredibly tight at the top. Not at all surprising from this Contender Series grid. Of course, all of these drivers could well hold their pace in the Top Flight Pro Series here at VMS. So not surprising at all that we're seeing such an incredible level of pace already out the gate in round one in the GT3 field. Saying that as Mattia Panci goes up to third, 3 cars at the top now, covered by less than a tenth of a second in LMP2 qualifying. Absolutely incredible pace on show, Ed.
Indeed, and that's a very good point actually as we look at Bram van der Tank finishing his final lap. Slight improvement in the first sector. Kolosov going actually even quicker in his compared to his personal best. Julian Heno only able to get just into the top 10 there for Shadow 1 on his final effort. As the checkered flag is out, it's been out for a whole minute then, so everybody's got to finish the lap that they are on. But you make a very good point because Artyom Manisha, Kolosov, Zoranovic, Personi, Petrishki, all of them have been in the top split in the past as well, which really shows you how congested it is, and that some very, very good drivers have been put into the sort of second split at the very top of it, and they certainly haven't lost any of their ability during the off-season then. Towards the bus stop chicane for his final run comes Van der Tang. Van der Tang has had a very, very good middle sector here. What can BVDT do as he comes towards the line? He's 18th at the moment for DCS Racing. He stays, stays 18th, I believe. So that is going to be last on the board. But Van der Tang was only about 1.5 seconds, I believe, off of pole position then, and only 3/10 away from the next car. Although Tom Valliard has just improved up to 15th there on his final effort then. Kolosov, personal best in the first sector, but 65 thousandths down in split 2. So this is going to be very, very close as he comes towards the line. And, it's a slight improvement, but it does not get him any closer to Mattia Panci then. 2/10 off of pole position exactly. DiPolito, his final lap ends with him 17th, just ahead of Van der Tang then. So I think only one driver, Kilian Adolphs, failing to set a time for the Grid 404 team.
Yeah, Kilian only managing to join in the last couple of minutes of LMGT3 qualifying there, so not enough time to get out and get the tyres up to temperature for a proper representative run. Lots of drivers crossing the line at the end there, improving, but only by fractions of a second, so not enough to actually move them up the board. Which means that Davide Canton, unfortunately not able to break into that top 10, although it looked from the start of his lap like he might have the pace to do so. He stays in P11.
So let's go over the order then. Artyom Manisha sets pole by a 10th of a second in the Corvette over Mark Sidoric in the Aston Martin Vantage. Then it's 2 Lexuses of Mattia Panci, the Italian, a previous pole setter, and Kolosov, the Russian, will start P4. Lucas Kongratel, in his first appearance in the Mustang, will start P5. Strahindra Zoranovic, the Serbian, will start P6. Then we have Maxim Vendler, P7. Leonardo Personi for Tatum Restic Esports in P8. Mikolaj Hutrishki, who was very, very worried. He's in Poland, of course. It's very, very hot there at the moment. So we've got to keep an eye on the heat wave warnings in real life and indeed the weather in game. We don't think it will rain during qualifying. The race may be a different matter. Julian Heno will round out the top 10 in the McLaren 720S for Shadow 1 Esports. Davide Canton looked to be improving late on. We'll have to start P11. Then we have Michael Thomas for 01 Esports in the BMW ahead of Alessandro Alfano, who starts 13th. Corbinian Windele on top early in the session, but the German leader in the Tier 1 Championship will start P14, 8/10 off the pace. Tom Vialard will start P15. Kevin L. Mokhtari will start P16 ahead of Filivio Dipolito. Bram van der Tang 18th, and Kilian Adolphs joining too late to get a lap on the board for 404 there. So 19 GT3s will take the start hopefully, but for the first time this season, the LMP2s are being released from the end of the pit lane. So an entirely new class, couple of liveries not loaded in there, so you have to see some Porsche temp liveries there. But this is really, really exciting then, Ollie. The LMP2s will get on track for the first time. And this is quite an exciting lineup. We, of course, have got Draroslav Honzik, the real-life racer and a streamer for the Jardier community team. He is, of course, nicknamed Jardier. As a result, we've got Heinrich Gamble, who's been very, very competitive in the top split in the past, where he's fought for wins and podiums, has the German. And then we have got some other names you may recognize, like Christian Bonani, the Italian for ERE Race Esports team. Alexander Radoshevitz, who's also competed before. We have got David Kolocsai, the Hungarian, who's competed at a very top level in the Le Mans Cup, essentially, where there was a real-life sort of esports prize tied in to that series, and he was a winner in that championship. And is there anybody else people might recognize?
Anyone familiar with the esports scene from a couple of years ago, back in the kind of peak of the COVID esports, might recognize Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci. He was a driver, I believe, for I believe he's an ex Williams and potentially ex Audi. Don't quote me 100% on that. But he is definitely an established name in the esports world. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. At the moment, he is, I believe, the team manager or owner for Shazoo Cedar Igniters.
Yes, I still don't know what on earth that name is meant to mean, but maybe it means something more in Dutch or Arabian, which of course is Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci's nationality. But of course, he's sort of the team owner of the team driven, of course, by Zoranovic, of course, who we saw just competing a few moments ago in GD3. But tell us a little bit about these LMP2 Oricas, of course, because they are a little bit less powerful than the hypercars, and it's all the sort of spec class of cars, essentially, so we won't be seeing too many differences. It is all about the setup and the driver here.
Yeah, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. These LMP2s are a slightly toned back version of the LMP2 that was around in the kind of golden era of sports car racing. That's because the hypercars that we currently see are slower than the LMP1s that used to partake in the World Endurance Championship. So these cars are completely spec. There is no difference in any of these cars across the grid. They're all running the exact same chassis. They all have the exact same movable parts. So it is all down to driver skill and the skill in working out the best setup for the track. So this is a pure pace class here, which hopefully should bring some incredibly close racing and incredibly close qualifying.
Yeah, I've just been in contact, by the way, with Juho Sopanen, who apparently is sleeping in the middle of the day. I don't know how in this heat, but he says you just need to take the dog out and he'll be back for the start of the race, hopefully, in about 30 minutes' time. Then, as you saw, very, very slow outlaps from the pit lane, but everybody in LMP2 doing their first flying laps of the season then. And, of course, with 3 different classes on track, this is why qualifying's have to be 40 minutes. So this will be really, really interesting then to see, once the race gets underway, how we have 3 different classes lapping each other. Of course, a couple other names that people might recognize in this class. We've got Stan Velietstra, the Dutchman for Referox Esports, who is a long mainstay in R Factor 2. He's also competed in other series like Formula Sim Racing World Championship Academy. We've got Mark Krop on the reserves list. He's a competitor in GPVWC Super League, of course, for the Fraser Tartan Esports team. And he's on the reserves list, as I say. We have got Gregor Luczak, the Polish driver, who's a privateer in this, who's also very, very competitive too. But yeah, I think a lot of big names that we're all going to be keeping our eye on. First flying lap so far. Fastest in the first sector. I'm still looking at Judy 3 times, so that's not going to help. Fastest in the first sector, and the second sector has been Alexander Radoshevitz for Alien Motorsports, of course. We've seen Alien Motorsports have a good start to Tier 1 with Mohamed Colombo winning and getting on pole in Hypercar at Silverstone. There you can see the livery there as Pia Pia for ERAP competitive goes over the line. He's going to be our first driver over the line. Is it Pia Pia or Pia Pia? Is that how you pronounce the Frenchman's name?
I've been going with Pia Pia until I get any further guidance at the moment. Just looking at timing, that fastest middle sector from Radoshevitz has been eclipsed by Jardier, over a second faster for Jaroslav Honzik through the middle sector compared to that one.
Big toe as well from that must be Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci. He's just got parts there on the run through Blanchimont. So Honzik over the line, and the Jardier man, otherwise known as Jardier, fastest in the final 2 sectors, and that has put him on pole position currently by 1.4 seconds over Pia Pia. So certainly a lot more laps to come. Moritz Kropp currently 3rd fastest, so good to see our first man on the reserves list getting a chance to shine there. No livery ready, so he's using the Prima Racing car, as there is, that looks like the blue squad of Thomas Duhamel, who's 5th fastest at the moment. Somebody's gone into the gravel ahead of him and left a bit of a smoke show for him to negotiate in the number 91 there. But of course, yeah, Race Esports Blue Squad, one of the sister teams of the ERE Race Esports squad then. So Duhamel looking to gain a bit of time. Radoshevitz, though, 6/10 quicker. So again, the LMP2s, like we saw in GT3, and we will see later on for Hypercar, they're warming up the tires, getting him into the operating window here. So Radoshevitz has gone very quick in the first sector, but we expect improvements up and down the field. Fato Motobuse has also set the fastest middle sector of anybody for exclusive esports, 787 then. So we'll have to see what Motobuse can do here.
I think another thing really worth thinking about in this spec series, especially when thinking about how much the setups matter, is how much each driver has tailored their setup for the racing conditions. Because as we know, Radoshevitz with a big rear lock into the bus stop there, that's going to have seen off his lap, in which he was coming up on 2 seconds faster. Really unfortunate for him. It's also going to write off his next lap, so he's not going to have to do a whole nother lap round before he can start another flyer. But with potential rain on the radar, as we know for the race, have any of these drivers maybe taken a slightly safer option for qualifying to try and maximize the pace in the wet for the race? Are there some drivers who have gone with more of a dry setup to maximize qualifying? I think they'll be able to hold it through any potential wet weather. I think in this class that will matter a lot more than in GT3 or Hypercar with the variation of manufacturers.
Indeed, but of course, we know it's supposed to be a dry start, and it's after 25 minutes that the rain chance increases to about 70% before reducing to 40% up until we get to about 85 minutes in. So we think the start and finish should be dry, but it's that middle portion where we don't know, and everybody's going to be trying to factor it in. Radoshevitz, as you can see, 15th at the moment, desperately needs his on. Here comes Christian Benani, personal best for his first 2 sectors and the 3rd sector as well. That puts him up to 4th then. But at the moment, Honzik is still about 2/10 clear of Motubatse. And then we got Simone Minio for the Simon Reverb team that is currently 3rd, who's just a couple of hundredths behind. Honzik has had a spin coming downhill into that, that's not no-name corner, it's the one just before, isn't it? Bruxelles, of course. Yeah, so he's lapping a very laggy-looking... he's hit the back of one of the other LMP2s there. That's the black and red machine.
Really, really unideal. Contact in any form during qualifying is not what you want. It really... Was
that Benani he hit there? It looked a lot like Benani's livery, but I didn't quite see the number. Anyway, that's the problem for Honzik now, is that as we see Pia going up to P4, but crucially, Fato Motubatse has gotten the 787 onto pole position now with a 2:04.9. There we go, half a second clear of Simone Minio, who's also jumped Honzik. Patrick Bugan going up to 4th, just behind them for the CSFL endurance team. And Mattis Koreshe for the Team Matix Vinciere goes up to P2 then. So Honzik, there's only 1 minute left then, so Honzik may have to get a move on then, as Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie for Chijidu Setters goes up to 3rd, and David Kolotzai up to 6th. The Hungarian there putting a good lap late in the session then. So we're getting towards checkered flag here. Anybody who wants to start their final lap needs to get a move on here.
And I think Radoshevitz is going to be left without a competitive lap time here.
He's just going to go through the middle sector here.
Yeah,
so it's going to be close.
See how this unfolds, but it's not looking particularly brilliant at the moment for Radoshevitz. Hopefully he'll be able to find his way inside that top 10.
Duhamel's stopped at the bottom of Rouge and Radion there. So he's going to start no better than P11. That's the end of his session, causing a brief yellow flag for those behind as well. Let's hope it's not a dual thrusting qualifying sort of situation where everybody speeds through and then worries back in that lap deleted later or not.
Pia into the pit lane as well, so that's the end of qualifying there. Duhamel has managed to get his way back to the garage as well.
Checkered flag out. Honzik, personal best through the first sector, up by, he is about, I think, 2/10 ahead of Motu Batse, and about 25 thousandths ahead of his own personal best here. But of course, Motu Batse driver, I'm trying to see, there he is, his exclusive esports driver, of course. I don't think I ever found out what his nationality was, so we'll have to ask him afterwards. But coming through Stabilo, and pull for a corner comes Jardier. Jaroslav Honzik, of course, the Czech Republic driver. So experienced. Patrick Bugan goes up to 5th. Currently, Honzik is looking at 6th fastest at the present moment here. Moritz Krop, though, goes up to the top 6 as well. So the German showing very impressively, given that he was on the reserves list. Into the bus stop chicane comes Honzik. In number 39, Jeffrey Miguel. Reno Ritchie gets onto the front row, just misses out on pole position by 1/10 of a second. This is all or nothing for Honzik. And Jaroslav Honzik goes up to 3rd, right behind Jeffrey Miguel, Reno Ritchie. So just a tenth between them then. And it looks like the final couple of laps being completed. Anthony Pelletier goes up to P11, just outside the top 10. And there's Christian Benani, 15th at the moment. What can the Italian do? Jordi Ferte goes up to 12th for Stinger Motorsports.
And Radoshevich did just manage to sneak into the top 10 as well, which is reassuring for him. Will he stay there after this lap from Benani? He does just.
Yeah, so Radoshevich knocked down to 10th by Benani with that late lap for the Race Esports team. So the Italian just behind Moritz Krop then in the final reckoning. So a very tight qualifying. Fato Motubatse doing a very impressive job there for Exclusive Esports to take the first LMP2 pole ever in VMS. Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie will start P2 ahead of Jaroslav Honzik after the contact with Benani earlier in his session. Matis Crochet will start P4 ahead of Simon Minio. David Koloksai, the Hungarian, will start P6 just ahead of Patrick Bugan for CSFL Endurance Team. Then we have Moritz Krop in P7, Christian Benani in P9, and Alexander Radoshevich into P10, despite that mistake in his earlier qualifying lap. Gianluca Valsac will start P11, also for Exclusive Esports. Then we have Anthony Pelletier for Spirit Project Proto in 12th, Jordi Ferte for Stinger Motorsports in 13th, Pia Pia in 14th, Evan Wengler 15th, Matis Ratte in 16th, Thomas Duhamel in 17th, Gregor Luxak down in 18th, and Johan Moorkamp will round out our 19 starters then. So it looks like, I think there were 22 on the entry list, but we must have lost a couple, had a couple of substitutes jumping in there. So it looks like it'll be 19. So we should have just under 50 then cars total. Should be about 48, 47 taking the start of the race then. But we still have our hypercars yet to qualify, Ollie. And as you say, that's going to be essentially a bit of a kind of similar thing to our LMP2s, where everybody be desperate to warm up the tires. So you should get the best track conditions right at the end of the session. And again, it's only 10 minutes. It's a fairly long lap at Spa. You're really only going to get 3 attempts in if you keep it clean.
Yeah, it's definitely a time-sensitive session for these hypercars, but they are all also conscious that if you over-push on those outlaps, if you really scrub those tyres in, it does come with risks. You know, we've seen drivers spin on outlaps before, trying to push the tyre into being heated properly, and that then scrubs that set of tyres. You then get flat spots, and the tyre is written off, and you've effectively ruined your own qualifying. So as much as these drivers are going to be pushing those cars to try and get the grip that they're looking for, they do also need to be slightly careful of it, just to make sure that they don't risk their qualifying by pushing excessively on an outlap.
Indeed. So tyre preparation is key. But of course, our hypercars then, we've got some pretty big names to look out for. Of course, you may recognize from last season, Lucas Cedar joining Referox Esports, Robin Deschamps, former teammate of Cedar last season, joining Alien Motorsports, and we've got Eric Notzold still with Pulse Racing, and Michele De Rezo at 0 Point racing as well. So quite a number, about 5 Toyotas in the lineup here. We have got a number of Cadillacs, which seems to be, I always find the Cadillac is kind of, it's the choice of the champion last season in the form of Fabio Grigolato in the top split, but it does very much seem to be the all-rounder choice, that if you're not sure which one to go for, most just go for the Cadillac, because the V8, I guess, sounds nicest. well, unless you've driven the Valkyrie, of course. But we've also got notes on, it's one of our very few BMWs in the field, as there is Daniel Massen, who I believe is a newcomer to a contender split for the first time this season in his BMW. He's one of our Merc Sim Racing drivers on the reserve list as well. And there is the Toyota of, that's Nathan Perron, of course, who was on the podium in a number of races in contender split last season as well. Was very, very impressive, was the Frenchman Nathan Perron. You'll recognize Niclas Ulrich also joining AD Motorsports this season in his Toyota. And we've also got Benjamin George for a Codis ASP by Delta V in his Toyota too, as we look at Niclas Ulrich. Or is that Moritz Ulrich, sorry, in the Ferrari that's going for it. So 2 Ulrichs, of course. One driving, of course, for Refrox Esport in the form of Moritz in the Ferrari. And then got Nicholas for the Avian Motorsports in the Toyota. So that's how we're going to tell the 2 German, I believe they're siblings, but they might not be. The 2 Ulrichs apart, whatever their relationship is. And we also got, interestingly, Valentin Barrier for Opelite Sim Racing is in this split too. You may recognize he did quite a lot last season in the top split in GD3 for Opelite in the Mercedes AMG GD3, where he was a podium finisher, of course, at Interlagos, most memorably. There is Alex Guidi for the Nessuno team. Guidi, of course, another of our newcomers in the Toyota. The Toyota, interestingly, tends to be a really good qualifying car. Tends to be a little bit unpredictable come the race, though, especially on the first couple of laps on cold tyres.
I'll tell you what I find very interesting at the moment is this pretty much half and half split on tyre compound choice for this qualifying session. We have got, I think, pretty much even numbers of cars running all softs and all mediums. And I don't know if maybe this is some drivers thinking that they'll be able to take those softs and utilise them at the beginning of the race before that potential for rain kicks in. And thinking that that will be a better car to get them away from the line and through that first 20-25 minutes of the race before the rain is thought to first start being a threat.
Yeah, I suppose it's a question of if they have to start on the tyres that they qualify on. Some of the hypercars might want the flexibility, but also there's other levels that if it's going to be a dry start, you want to be on the faster tyre so you can get the track position here. There are places you can overtake at Spa, but it's so easy, of course, especially with the hot temperatures we're seeing, that you could chew through those softs before too long. So anyway, 6.5 minutes or so left to go in qualifying. Currently, Simone Villolo for Old Star Racing in his, I believe, Cadillac has set the fastest first sector of anybody, but these are the first 5 laps. Everybody's still getting the tyres up to temperature. But speaking of up to temperature, I think we've just been joined by Juho Sopanen, who's just taking the dog out for a walk and he's joining us in the commentary box. Juho, glad he could make it. Sorry we started a bit earlier than you were ready for, it seems. Welcome to Hypercar qualifying. You haven't missed the start of the race.
Thank you. I apologize also to the director as well.
It's okay. Ollie filled in for you, so we're still good.
Yeah.
So anyway, Alex, what you eat? Oh, go on.
Well, currently, I see the Toyotas now are really fast. So Guidi is on provisional pole at the moment.
He's a slow lap time, so 201.2. Yannis Price in the Peugeot for Virtual Esports, currently second with a 204, and Lucas Cedar 205. And Yannis Price, of course, podium finisher in the top split at particularly at Silverstone last season. Nicholas Henkel splits the two of them for Pulse Racing Burnout, and then Simone Violo, who we saw was fastest in the first sector. He is set a 204.2. So Guidi in the Toyota comfortably quicker than everybody so far, but I suspect we are going to see 2-minute flat laps by the time everybody's got the tyres up to temperature there. Alex Guidi, of course, a privateer entrant who has a fair bit of Lamar to experience under his belt, if I'm not mistaken, so good to see him giving the Contender split a go. And there is Nathan Perron. You may recognize last season he was very, very competitive in the Alpine, took a number of podiums in Contender split. This season he's gone for the Toyota TR010. Of course, I've got to get used to it not being Kazoo Racing this season. But yeah, Nathan Perron hoping to carry through the momentum that he showed last season, and he's joined the Acodis ASP by Delta V team, which is why he's got that livery on the car. Marco Canter now has gone fastest in the first sector in his Cadillac, setting a 32.5.
Indeed, as we're starting to see, like, people are going to start to put on the 2-minute flats here at the moment. It will not come in immediately, but it will start to show a bit soon, as we see Price currently seems to be on his out lap. No, never mind, he's on his lap. Currently, Canter currently fastest in the first and second sector at the moment, and now Price exits through the bus stop chicane. Now let's see what's he gonna do. Well, it's not gonna be a fast time. Well, never mind. It's
1.0.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
immediately beaten by Notesold, who's our first man in the 2-minute flats with a 2:05.6. There we go. So Sonny Raimondo immediately beats that himself. 2:05 is flat point 3. Moritz Ulrich just attempt shy of that. Marco Canter breaks the 2-minute barrier. They're 1:59.9 in the Cadillac there. So the Cadillac historically tends to be very, very handy at Spa. We had an endurance race in the top split in Pro last season that was won, of course, by Fabio Grigoletto on the way to his 4th title. It was one of 2 wins that he took that season. As we see, there is the bright green and pink, very odd color combination used by Quinten Jore, the Ria Rat Esports team. I just heard Nick clearly does not approve in the broadcast direction of this particular choice. Maybe he thinks it's quite puke flavored, but I guess rats, there's pink and green on rats, aren't there? I mean, there's green bits inside when the rat throws up, I guess. But, but anyway, best not to think about that, as particularly not in this weather, as Valentin Barrier has set the fastest first sector of anybody. Valentin Barrier, interestingly, was in GT3 in the top split. He's moved down to Contender split, where he previously competed in GT3 2 seasons ago and was a race winner. But now he's going for the hypercar and he's going for the Cadillac then. So this is an interesting sort of sideways and hop down move for the Frenchman here. And it's interesting. All that GT3 experience is not going to be particularly helpful in the hypercars, is it, Juho?
Yeah, there's a bit of a difference between the hypercar and GT3 experience there. Since we've seen a 1:59, so at the moment
that Canter's still going quickly then out there.
Yeah. Well, we thought we would get like maximum 2-minute flats at the moment. Speaking of which, but in the end we've got a under 2 minutes flat, a 1:59.9. So now we see Barrier currently going up to 3rd place with that Cadillac. So a very tight lap from the Cadillac driver. Now we see Ulrich currently coming across the line, and he goes 2nd fastest. So
yeah, that first sector let him down a little bit. Simone Violo immediately jumps him for Old Star Racing. Here comes the visceral of, I believe, is that Paul Koch just going over the line up to P12 there. Is it Paul Koch? Sorry, I may have mispronounced that last name ever so slightly there. As Daniel Marcin goes over the line for the Merck Sim Racing Gold Squad, only up to P16 then, so more time to find, I think, for the BMW. Currently, the fastest BMW is Eric Notesold for Pulse Racing. But of course, our top 5, all on the soft tyre. I was just talking about this with Ollie before you came in, Juho, that because rain is expected in the middle of the race, a lot of quite a number of our hypercars are going for the medium tyre, including Nathan Perron and the aforementioned Paul Koch. Alexander Mardukovic gets his Porsche up to P13. There we go. He's another on the medium tyres as well. So that very much comes across as sacrificing track position in qualifying, but they might be able to extend and not have to do an extra pit stop if they're caught out by the tyre change for wet tyres.
Indeed, as also Spa proves to be chaotic with rain, and well, usually in Spa it doesn't really come with a bucket full, but in Murray Walker's quotes, by an ocean full.
There we go.
But
Infamously difficult to predict the weather at Spa-Francorchamps as well, due to how long the circuit is as well. As Lucas Cedar, personal best, particularly strong middle sector, nearly 6/10 up. He is currently 16th fastest. If he can improve, he can maybe get into the top 10 here for Ray Ferox. That would be very important for the German here. Was on the podium last season, I believe, at Sebring. So at Spa, can he improve? Up to P9 he goes. That's 7 positions he's gained. 2 minutes, 0.787 there. On the medium tire as well, just behind Nathan Perron. So to be highest at the medium tires could be a big, big deal here. Here's Niclas Ulrich, another of our medium tire runners in the Porsche. For Alien Motorsport, Paul Kosh goes up to P8, a time which is immediately beaten by Eric Notzold there. And Notzold, I believe, is back to the soft tires in his BMW. Check flags out. Ulrich's final time gets him only to 17th for Nicholas Ulrich there. So he'll be disappointed with that. Alexander Mardukovic on the medium tires needs a desperate improvement here.
Indeed, as Mardukovic is very, very good on the bus stop chicane. And as we can see now, he's approaching it, now exiting it. Now let's see what can the Refrox esports driver can do. Coming across the line here, what will Alexander Mardukovic do? He will go up to P10. So at the moment, he seems to be in P10. And
sole
well,
Porsche 963 in the field as well, so that's not bad at all from the Norwegian. As we now see Alex Guidi a little bit down on his personal best in the first 2 sectors. Can this be an improvement, or will he stay P16? Over the line he comes, slightly behind in all 3 sectors then. So P16 it will be for the privateer entrant in number 27 Toyota then. But for Marco Cantor, that 159 lap exceptional puts him on pole by just under 2/10 then from Simone Viola. So it's a Cadillac 1-2 in the top class in hypercar. Moritz Ulrich will start P3 in the number 50. And of course, Moritz, the driver for the Refrox esports team. Giuseppe Di Noia will line up P4 for Exclusive Esports 787. Sani Raimondo, in his first appearance for the Aventimont Cadillac, will start P5. Valentin Barrier, the Frenchman, will start P6. So that is 5 Cadillacs in the top 6 in qualifying. The first BMW, Eric Notzold, the German, will start P7, or is he Dutch? I can't remember. Yes, definitely check now, and he is indeed German, so I had it right the first time. Paul Kosh will start P8. Nathan Perron, the Frenchman, total will start P9. And Alexander Mardukovic in the Porsche 963 will round out the top 10. Lucas Cedar will start P11 ahead of Michele De Rezzo. Johannes Price, slightly disappointing in the Peugeot, but he's the highest, I believe, of the Peugeots in P13. Alphonse Velen, who we saw very, very competitive as well in the Tier 1 Split 2. He will start P14, will the Finnish driver. Quentin Jury will start 15th. Alex Guidi, 16th. Nicholas Ulrich, 17th. Daniel Marzin, 18th. Benjamin George, 19th. Nicholas Henkel did not really get a clean lap together. He will start 20th. And last, along with Robin Deschamps and Gabor Por, who did not set lap times. So there we go. It is a full house then. 22 hypercars. I believe 19 LMP2s. Motubase on pole for the Exclusive Esports. And then we have 19 GD3s. So this is the exciting thing. We've got our 3 classes on track for the first time. Rain expected then, as we see the grid forming up in front of us, Juho. And this is going to be a really, really chaotic situation. Oh, it's showing Nathan Perron on the wets already, which I believe he will very, very quickly rectify. But first 25 minutes of the race, no % chance of rain, it seems, on the forecast. When we get to time slot number 2, 25 minutes in, that chance goes up to 70% then. So we're going to start dry, but how long will it stay dry is the big question. And what's it going to be like the first time our GD3s and LMP2s end up having to lap each other?
I mean, it's going to be very chaotic once we hit the rain part of the race, but I think honestly it will be fun to see how the drivers will drive. So let battle commence. Obviously.
There we go. Rain in 35 minutes. It says on the forecast. and even after 71 minutes as well. 108 minutes though, we should be good. So that kind of second, that final third of the race or so, we expect to be dry. How quickly it will dry out though, and how hard it will rain in the first place is something we'll have to see as we go. You can see there, interestingly, it's showing Violo on pole position. It should be Marco Canto, I believe, is yet to appear on the grid. It's showing a mix of dry and wet tires, which I'm not sure if you're allowed to do in the rules for some of these drivers. So I'm not sure you want to put wets on the rears either as well, or wets indeed on the left-hand or right-hand side of the car, given that the track seems to be, from what I'm seeing, bone dry, Juho. And that could well indeed be a visual glitch throughout a lot of our free classes here.
Well, it looks to be bone dry at the moment, so now we're going to the formation lap.
There we go. Everybody apart from Moritz Krop seems to have changed the tires in time there, so that we'll have to see if he has to come in for a change of tires, or if he's going to be quite badly caught out. We're sort of, I've heard of hedging a bet, but putting dries and wets on the car is quite literally hedging a bet in a way that isn't going to help you either way, I don't think. But there we go. It looks like Cantor, Violo, both on the softs at the front of Hypercar, but Moritz Ulrich in third, interestingly going for the mediums, as indeed is Barrier, Notesold, Koch, and Perron, and Mardukovic and Cedar in our top 11. Further back, it is, of course, going to be Fato Motibasse and Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci on the front row with Jaroslav Honzik, the very famous streamer from the Czech Republic. Jardier, of course, as his nickname. He will start P3 with Matis Crochet just behind him. And then in GD3, it's Artyom Manisha, the Belarusian for Visceral Esports. It's a Visceral front row course with Mark Sidoruk alongside him. And then we've got Matija Pancha, previous pole sitter for Renova competition, in this split in third with Vaslav Kolosov. Very, very experienced for company just behind. So here comes Marco Cantor then. The Italian has been successful here in Contender split in the past. Can he get the jump on Simone Violo, the Old Star Racing red, yellow and black Corvette, Cadillac, sorry, right alongside him. And then Ulrich and Denoyer just behind them. Green flag showing at Davide Canton in the Lexus has already been given a penalty. As you can see, Ulrich having to defend the inside from Sani Raimondo and Giuseppe Denoyer. But look at Marco Canto and Simone Violo side by side then as they go down towards Eau Rouge Red. It's still Cantor ahead, and Violo has to tuck in behind, both on the soft. Ulrich, though, crucially holding on to third, but he's creating a big hole in the air for Denoyer, who's up to fourth, and Sani Raimondo and the Avintemont Cadillac. Here we go. It looks like the exclusive esports 787 of Denoyer is pulling to the outside, and Violo almost onto the grass as they come towards Les Combes. And you can see in the background Barrier and Notesold's up beside. Notesold locks up, and that allows all sorts of chaos to happen. I think Nathan Perron now is up to P5. It looks like Barrier has lost out, and Notesold has dropped all the way down the field. It's absolute chaos. There is Notesold spun on the inside as here come the LMP2s trying to thread their way through. Oh dear, Mardukovic has found himself backwards in the gravel at Lake Common in the wall, and has Mardukovic's day ended before it basically even started there. Side by side into Pruhon for third between Ulrich and Denoyer. Denoyer just having to back out there. So eventful start. Cantor leads Violo in Hypercar. Motibasse leads Crochet, who's gotten up to second in LMP2 in a chaotic start there. And Manisha still leads in GD3 from Sidoruk.
Yep, it was a chaotic start, but Mardukovic, well,
there's Notesold diving up the inside. Oh, and he just takes out the number 7.
And then let's see. Yeah, that's
oh dear, Mardukovic is backwards right as the LMP2 field appears on the scene. So Motibasse's held onto the lead, but Miguel Reno Ricci and Honzik have both lost a load of positions in all of this. There's Mardukovic side by side with the Rat racing car. Quentin Jure. Oh, and then there the hit with the number 7 after it's been spun around. That, of course, was Sani Raimondo, who'd been taken out there by the Pulse racing car, wasn't it?
It seems like it was a Pulse racing car, but Mardukovic...
Notesold, yes. Oh, and that looks like the Merc racing car getting into issues there and losing a couple of positions, that BMW.
Yep, so that's Maassen, I think.
Indeed it is. Honzik getting through then into the top 5 in LMP2. as the battle very much continues then. So Kanta has built the gap to Violo to 3 seconds now, as we see the LMP2 squabbling continuing. Motubatse leads Crochet by 3/10. Crochet has actually threaded his way for Team Natax Vinciere very, very convincingly through the chaos, and he's very much in the slipstream of the class leader now. As you see the gap to behind, it's like Massen trying to make his way through the LMP2 pack here. So he's lost out at the start, and now he's got the unusual situation for the hypercars. They're having to thread their way through the LMP2s. Usually if you have a bad start, there's a bit of a gap to the GD3s, but now the LMP2's in the mix. Side by side for the lead. Sidoruk relieves his teammate Manisha of the lead, so the advantage. Oh, but he cuts the track, having completed the move just before Lecom there. Well, their teammates then, how did Visceral manage that one? So the move was made just before the braking zone, but meanwhile, it looks like Luxac in trouble there.
Yeah, Luxac seems to be in trouble. Let's see what happened here. Here we go. So he
fighting with another of our privateers in the Prema.
Oh, yeah, he spawned on his own, and he almost takes out the number 7 LMP2 as well. So Luxac.
That was Luxac, yes, in the Go Team LMP2, wasn't it? As there we see somebody just preparing off from the runoff there in an LMP2 then. So quite a lot to keep track of then. So let's see. It's Kanta, Violo, Ulrich, Denoyer, Perron, Kosh, Cedar, Price, Barrier, De Rezo, your top 10 in Hypercar. Motibatse still leads LMP2. Daniel Masson is making his way through the LMP2 front runners up the inside into the bus stop. This is a difficult situation for Fato. Motibatse needs to make sure he doesn't leave himself vulnerable to Crochet just behind. Or Jeffrey Miguel, Reno Richie's looking to get back into second position. David Koloxai has also made a great start into P4 with Honzik keeping him company after losing position himself. So Jardier will be streaming this on his Twitch channel then, if you want to hear the thoughts of the man from the Czech Republic. There he is, just fending off Alexander Radoshevic, who had a bit of an eventful first lap for Alien Motorsports. There are our hypercars. That is Lucas Cedar trying to fend off Paul Kosh then. Both, we got the Ferrari fighting then with the Cadillac, and I believe Cedar may have just made it through in recent history. And there's Moritz Kropp after his incident with Luxac, going very slowly in the number 9 through the bus stop chicane, and then having a spin right in front of the GD3s there.
Yeah, poor Moritz Kropp there. He had done a good qualifying session. Now he's down, and now we see Panchi and Wendler making some moves here, and it was very risky into a Rouge already. And Wendler now is getting pressured by Chudrisky, and Chudrisky is trying to overtake Wendler.
It's okay, nobody can pronounce Mikołaj Chudrisky's name, but unless you're from Poland, of course. Of course, it's worth mentioning Poland seeing temperatures of 39 degrees at the moment, as I believe all sorts of chaos going on. We might have had a retirement, I believe. Sonny Raimondo, Moritz Kropp, Eric Noetzelder, and Alexander Madukovic, I think all three potentially falling right to the back behind the GD3s at the present moment. And there's Quentin Jure having a spin. It gets tail happy, and the Rat Esports, the tail of the Rat very much out of control there, and straight into the wall goes the squalid color scheme with the bright green and bright pink Peugeot there.
Well, the Rat Esports has lost his tail, it seems like, but yeah, as we see Kanta now, Violo has...
Pit stops going on.
Yep, pit stops going on. It seems like,
that's, I believe, Kropp, Raimondo, both in the pits there. There we go.
Yep.
So they will fall right to the back then with this early stop. Bram van der Tang also an issue near the back of GD3. That's why there's yellow in Sector 2 at the moment. So the Dutchman has hit trouble as we look at Crochet, who was challenging for the lead earlier a few minutes ago. Not had a great lap. He's fallen 8/10 behind and into the clutches of Jeffrey Miguel, Reno Ritchie. We see the lights coming on. It looks like the clouds are coming in. It's transitioning to overcast conditions. Could it transition to rain conditions before too long? All of our LMP2s on the medium tire, and same for our GD3 sets. Only the hypercars where you're seeing a number of drivers on the soft end. But in Moritz Ulrich, he may be 3 seconds off the lead and 2.2 seconds behind Simone Violo in second. But I think Ulrich if it rains at a certain point in the race, quite late into the stint. Oh, and a spin for the LMP2. That is the Prema losing it again. Was that a lap car of Moritz Krop?
Oh, it's Moritz.
Oh dear, first lap at the pits, cold tyres, and he spun it at Brussels then, coming downhill through that constant radius right-hander.
Yeah, very unfortunate still, and it's just going bad to worse for Moritz Krop. And let's see again.
You see, he was going so gingerly as well.
Oh, yeah. I think that was the cold tires in this factor as well, as we see Tang here. So what's happened here to the
Oh, he's gone straight on.
Oh no!
Oh,
no!
And the front left wheel has parted company with the Porsche, so the DCS racing car will go no further, I believe. That is him out.
Yeah, that is a wheel failure if I've ever seen one, and yeah, unfortunate for him, and very unlucky.
Another yellow flag. That's Leo Alain near the back, right at the back for SDL Esports in GT3 that's hit trouble. But our hypercar leaders getting close. Violo has got the old star racing car right into the slipstream of Marco Canter, our pole sitter. He was 2/10 quicker and set the fastest lap on the previous lap. Crochet sets the fastest lap in LMP2 as he tries to hold off Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci. Yellow in the final sector as our LMP2s are negotiating that piece of track now. Viola not quite close enough to Marco Canter here, so Canter very keen to keep track position here, particularly if the rain comes earlier than expected, I believe.
Yep, as the floodgates start to slowly open at the moment, and Violo's still pretty much behind Canter, but Violo is starting to close up every bit of time here, and just finding that time as Bonani makes the move on Wolchak as well, and Wolchak now down to 8th. And as we see a replay, I think we've seen an incident, so.
Oh, this could be a move.
Oh yeah, this might have been a factor here. So Wolchak might have slipped a little bit. And
let's see, it's the Swiss car he's fighting with. Is that the 40 Bonani in the 45, casting the 788 of Gianluca Volzak then into Lecom then. So a pretty good move by the Italian Christian Bonani in the first LMP2 race. But look at this, Violo positions 97 to the outside of Sidoruk. Now he's taking the lead to set the fastest lap in GT3 as he pulls 1.2 seconds clear of his teammate Manisha there. But Violo is looking less and less patient here behind Canter. And you can see Ulrich on the mediums is starting to catch him there. Is Canter starting to really struggle with his pace here? Yeah, 10 slower than Ulrich.
Yep, so Ulrich is starting to pounce on here as Simone Violo now starting to absolutely light up the whole field here. So it seems like Marco Canter might lose a position here as Simone Violo ducks to the outside, and now Marco Canter has to try to defend as we approach to Lecom. It's almost contact. There is a little bit of contact, and again there's a little bit of contact, and Marco Canter still takes the position, but look at the exit from
pushing him onto the grass.
Whoa! That was...
And Violo's going to have the inside. He goes over the curb and they spin around the leader's touch. And that's disastrous for the both of them because look, Moritz Ulrich now almost side by side with Marco Canter as Viola gets going just behind Paul Koch then in the Visceral Esports. So he's down to P7 as Ulrich nearly nips up the inside of Canter there. But Canter defended just about fairly into Lecom, but was just a little too vociferous with the chop there. To the outside goes Ulrich, nearly touching again with Canter. They do touch through the Fania chicane there. Piff paff, a little bit of contact through piff paff chicane, and Moritz Ulrich takes the lead on the medium tide. Now Giuseppe Di Noia in the exclusive esports 787 is rapidly catching Canter as well then. So Canter and Viola were our two early leaders, but making contact there has cost the both of them.
Indeed, as we see the replay here. So Violo was really pretty much alongside, had the overlap, and now we see... So
Canter had such a bad run into Brussels, though. I don't know why he defended so hard.
Yep, and... yeah,
he's almost turning in from the outside, and it's almost, where do you go if you're Simone Viola in this situation?
Indeed. Pretty much just very bad luck for Simone, and very unfortunate. But all smiles for Refrox here at
And
the
for
moment.
Moritz Ulrich, of course, because he judged that absolutely perfectly to the outside. Canter kind of learned his lesson and made as little contact as possible. Now he's got to fend off De Neuer, as here is Crochet. Oh! Losing it completely, Rose Academy. He takes out the leader in LMP2. So Jeffrey McGill, Reno Ritchie will inherit the lead. But oh my goodness there. That was, who on earth got taken out there?
Oh my goodness gracious, what has happened here?
So Motibatse, sorry, was quietly minding his own business for exclusive 787. Into bus stop he goes, and he just lost the rear end. He crochet and completely taken out. You got to feel for Fato Motibatse, because he was completely controlling things from the front and was just completely wiped out there through no fault of his own by weaponized crochet.
Yep, and well, Motibatse
Review would
was
be absolutely terrifying on this one.
yeah, Motibatse was, well, unfortunately, as I would say, a bowling pin at this point. And then yeah,
It's just at high speed, just as he gets on the brakes, it just completely spins around on him.
yep, indeed. And yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Oh.
Wait for it, and then bang. So yeah, very unfortunate for Motibatse as we approach the GT3s for the hypercars here, and Violo now frustrated with what happened. Now he's trying to defend from Paul Koch as
So he's
well,
gotten ahead of
and-
Paul here.
Yep, indeed. And now Paul wants to re-attack, and
Yeah,
at
the
the
GT3s
moment-
will be quite the hazard here. As you can
Yeah.
see, Violo a bit held up on the exit bus stop by the 720S as the hypercars go either side of the traffic. Look behind at the Peugeot, by the way. Johannes Price has come up from, I think, 14th on the grid to P8 then. So Johannes Price using his experience to good effect here. As you can see just behind, there's the Rezo and Robin Deschamps make their way through it. And there is, I think, Nicholas Henkel in a bit of a duel there. So now Jeffrey McGill, Reno Ritchie's gone from third, seeing the two leaders crash into each other. He has now inherited the lead in the 41. David Koloksai, the Hungarian, is now up to P2 from 6th on the grid. And then it is Jaroslav Honzak, Jardier, the streamer, back onto the podium then. And with I think there was Ollie joked to me just before the race, they've set up the LMP2 cars just for Jaroslav Honzik because of how popular he is as a streamer. So let's hope everyone from the Czech Republic is enjoying the show. They're being treated to Radošević, still struggling to pass the very, very experienced Jaroslav, who's, of course, a real-life
Here we
racer.
go.
As we see more hypercar leaders negotiating the GT3s, that's what the LMP2s will have to deal with before too long. Look at Valentin Barry, I believe, in 8th. He's right behind Johannes Price, so he has made his way through the traffic and gained a couple of positions there in his Cadillac.
indeed, as the lead in the hypercar drivers have to be very, very careful of what they're doing. As I say that, I thought there was going to be a recipe for disaster there, but either way, the hypercar drivers make it through cleanly, but will frustrate the G3 drivers as we see. Well, now it's Motibatse and Duhamel, and we don't see quite clearly from the forest as well, so apologies to the viewers if you just saw the forest and not the cars.
Look
at the
behind,
moment.
that's Pierre trying to go round the outside of Jordi Ferte into Speaker's Corner. Ferte with the lovely mixed livery there. And he's got Matthias Ratte trying to go around the outside of the 253 into Pujon there, but having to back out is the blue squad by Race Esports Machine. He will try and go up the inside into Fanier, but they're not able to do so. So our three leaders, Moritz Ulrich, Jeff McGarino Ritchie, and Sidoruk, of course, still leading in GT3 is Mark Sidoruk. Then, as we see him having to let the hypercars through, just on the entrance there. Not a whole lot of space there for the, I believe that was a Cadillac just making his way through there. There goes a Toyota and one of the visceral cars, as this is Barrier trying to make his way past Johannes Price. So Nathan Perron has lost out to Paul Koch there, as there is Violo, who's actually lost a bit of ground and fallen back down to 9th, despite taking the fastest lap of the race to 97. As meanwhile, in LMP2, Matthias Ratte has picked off Jordi Ferte for P14 then. So difficult with three classes. as we expected, difficult to know where to look then. But really, the class leaders have ended up tripping over each other in the prototype classes. It's really GD3 where the two teammates of Sidoric and Manisha have kept it surprisingly clean so far, as we briefly see a yellow in the first sector.
And we get a replay for that as well. So here's Rate. And let's see what happens. It's the 253 versus Rate.
Making contact with the triple 11 of Rate.
Yep.
That was Jordi Furte, I think you hit him there.
Yep. And that was unfortunate for Rate, but either way, he kind of spun himself out as well with the little contact as well. As we see Furte and Wengler currently doing the battle for P14 at the moment. They're not seemingly gonna go for moves here, since well, I think some people would argue that that one contact was very bad indeed, as we see Barrier and Violo. So Violo has catched up to Barrier, and now Barrier has to pretty much defend, but also look ahead at what Price will do at the moment, because for now Barrier has Simone Violo basically just going behind, and then Price currently ahead. He needs to just pretty much see who will make the move first, basically. So will it be Violo, or will he be catching up to Price?
Problem here is he's fighting against the Porsche. I believe Barrier may well be in the 9X8. Yes, it's the wingless version. So that's very quick down the straight line, down the Kemmel Straight going into Lecom. So that means Balancing Barrier in the Cadillac's having to rely a lot more on the slipstream. You can see just up the road, by the way, Nathan Perron fighting away with Paul Koch for P5. So Paul, having taken advantage of Perron tripping up over the traffic, has got his Ferrari back into the top 5 there. So that's great news for Visceral. Meanwhile, the lead in Hypercar, Moritz Ulrich, has pulled about 3.5 seconds ahead of Marco Cantor on the softs, who has kept Giuseppe Di Noi about half a second behind. Sort of in no man's land, about 8/10 just behind, is Lucas Cedar and the Referox, of course, who is sort of matching the times of Di Noi in front of him at the present moment then. In LMP2, here is, we're on board with, I believe, Jaroslav Honzik, who's chasing down Hungarian David Koloksai, who's being held up by, wall of 3 GD3s. There's nowhere to go here.
Whoa.
And to the outside, they're going to try and go around the outside, but again, being blocked in here. Honzik will try and pull to the inside while Koloksai is delayed. There we go. Honzik gets through into P2, and Radoshevitz also going through. So horrible luck there for David Koloksai. He is just boxed in completely by a wall of GD3s there. I think there's no other way to say it there. Koloksai goes from 2nd to 5th. Banani also getting through there.
Yep, and I think the Jardier fans would have loved that as well, as Jardier himself, Honzik, basically.
So it's the DC Racing BMW that's the head of this train. To the outside, the Corvette, then it's the Lexus in the way. And this is where Jaroslav Honzak has got his wits about him, pulls to the inside, and Radoshevitz behind, you could tell, is already on that line. So it's a good thing that Honzik reacted when he did, because he could have been in the same situation if he hadn't reacted. And there's Banani getting through as well, a little bit of side-by-side with Koloksai as they go through Puhan.
Yep, and Honzik actually calculated it very perfectly indeed. So he has currently a comfortable gap for the moment. Now he doesn't, because Radoshevitz. Oh, wow.
Visual glitch there. I don't think the suspension usually does that through Speaker's Corner. As we look at Cedar chasing down Marco Cantor, our former race leader, who's just been picked off by Di Noi, I believe, at the end of the Kemmel Straight into Lecom on this lap then. So Cantor really starting to run out of soft tires here as we are about 22 minutes into the race then. And Lucas Cedar, another of our medium runners, so his tires should be in much better state then. And you can see Paul Koch as well closing in too. So this is a tricky situation for our pole sitter, Cantor, after that controversial contact with Violo. Does he pit early here and risk being caught out by the rain, or does he stick it out on the softs and risk just losing track position, as he could be very slow in this thing? You can see Cedar flashing his lights. He knows Cantor is vulnerable, and he's saying, you don't want to fight me. It could end very badly for you, Marco.
He does now. Looking down the inside.
Oh,
see
bad
there-
time
oh.
to cut to the replay, as there is is that Radoshevich with no rear wing. So having made that brilliant opportunistic move to get into the top 5, he is now backwards down the Camel Straight. So as he tripped over GD3, behind him it was David Koloksai, I believe. There we go. So Koloksai getting close. Oh! And it was the Lexus that he made contact with. Huge incident. And that has put Radoshevich, lucky he didn't end up stuck in the back, but he's trying to make it back to the pits. And that's him out of the race. The rear tire is gone. Oh dear, that is Alexander Radoshevich and Alien Motorsports Day ending badly in LMP2 then. So 2 massive accidents. Whoa, that hit with the Lexus will definitely be controversial there.
Well, I mean, that incident actually reminded me of I think it was the 2024 incident with the Cadillac and the G3. By the way, we have to get focused on this race as well, because Cantor currently catching up to Paul Koch at the moment.
Lucas
and
Cedars got through. Paul is catching him.
Oh yeah. Then, well then that's Paul Koch trying to catch up to Cantor. So either way, I lost basically some of this whole thing, but now
by the way, somebody agrees with you in chat, by the way. Rivaldi Nugara 6651 says Spa 6 hours 2024 moment. So he's made exactly the same connection that you have. We haven't talked too much about GD3, by the way, mainly because ever since Sidoruk took the lead, he has stayed about second half clear of Manisha there. You just saw they're being lapped by the 41. That is our LMP2 leader of Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie then. So the GD3 is being lapped, I believe, for the second time in this race by the LMP2s, if I'm not mistaken. Kolosov, Congratel, and Pisoni have been your top 5. Panchi has dropped about 3 seconds behind Pisoni in P6. Then we got Michael Thomas for 0-1, Mikolai Hutrushki in 8th, Julian Heno 9th, and Maxime Wendler rounding out the top 10 then. So the traffic here, very crucial for the LMP2s to get through as cleanly as they can. We saw exactly what happened in the previous lapping attempts where the leaders tripped over them, and it led to big consequences then. So on this occasion, you could see Koloksai in that previous incident. He so nearly got taken out by Mardukovic, didn't he? So his caution down the Kemmel Straight behind the Lexus actually was to his benefit there, and that's allowed David Koloksai to get back into the top 4 as he's fighting away with Christian Bonani. Here is Corbini and Windele holding off Zoranovic. I believe Zoranovic might have been the Lexus that either was involved or was the teammate of the car involved in the contact there. No, Congratel from 4th has spun off into the gravel. I believe, is that the middle sector somewhere? Yeah, that's coming through Fanier and into Stavilo.
So
Or has he made contact with the 88?
Yeah, he did make contact with the 88, and round she goes.
So which car is the 88 in LMP2? Believe that
That's
may be Minio. Okay. Oh dear. So Minio, who's in the top 5, of course, for the Simin Reverb with its black and bright green livery stripes. A little bit less egregious than the Rat Racing livery that we saw earlier for Quintin Jure, for the Ria Rat, that sadly I believe is out of the race. We are seeing them kind of dropping like flies. We're seeing warning. That's not 43 minutes until rain, but we are entering the rain period. Within the next 43 minutes, it could rain. So it could be that if it's only light rain, the drivers might stick it out on the dry tires. But if it's heavier, then that could be really fascinating indeed, as we now see Cantor under attack from Kosh, who's been waiting for his chance to get the Ferrari to the outside. Bit of contact as he turns in from the outside. He'll try and get the inside for the second bit of the bus stop chicane. Forces the Cadillac wide, and Cantor, our pole sitter, loses another position. Now he's got to worry about Nathan Perron in the Toyota, who's going to try and pressure him to the outside. Will Leah Condis, ASP by Delta V driver, or the long way round at La Source. It's going to be side by side as they make the run down into Eau Rouge and Radion here. Can Nathan Perron stick the Toyota's nose in? No, he wisely backs out and waits for the chance down the straight. But of course, Cantor will still be giving a bit of slipstream to Perron here, so he could potentially get back through into 4th position, but he's got to defend 5th from the 787 to the inside. Pulls, back to the outside actually. Pulls Marco Cantor goes to the inside of Pulkosh, but has to back out on the apex there. So Nathan Perron will get a chance as they go down towards Brussels, and look behind, Price still doing an excellent job defending from Barrier, Viola, and Velin, who are all closing in behind him.
Yeah, it seems like Welin has catched up to the fighting pair here, and right now it's going to be an absolutely barnstorm of a fight for what seems to be like 7th position. So Welling currently sitting pretty nicely and is a second spectator at the moment, as we see Perron currently still trying to make his move on Cantor to get by. Now we go approach Stavilo, and we've got yellow flags in sector 2.
Oh, it's somebody in GD3. I think that's hit trouble.
Might be, but either way, we're still continuing that. Well, it seems like it's Hanaud or Wendler.
They're just finding over 8th at the moment, so Nibig changed positions. Wendler's got the lights, the headlights on the 911 on at full blast here, so he's expecting it to get dark very quickly here. We did see there was almost like the joke reaction. Oh, Violo and I think Barrier both losing positions. Frugo,
oh no,
they're dueling away in hypercar. There we go. It's because Velin has cut the bus stop chicane there, so he briefly got through. Cantor now up to P6, around the outside of Johannes Price, a risky move. There we go. In fact, it's Price that's going up the inside of him, so our Pulsar is losing another place there. He's falling down to P7, and yeah, almost back into the clutches of Viola, who's fine with for the lead. Early doors then, so Marco Cantor just really struggling on the soft tires here. He is almost a sitting duck in that Cadillac. Surely he's got to think about pitting fairly soon then, as we are about half an hour into the race now. No sign of rain yet. The only reason to stay out now for Cantor is if he really thinks it's going to rain hard enough to force a change to wet tires. Let's see a replay of what happened.
Right, so this is Nathan Perron and Marco Cantor. Yes. Let's see what happened here. So,
lockup for Cantor.
Huge lockup from Cantor, yeah. And there you go, he goes off, and Nathan Perron says thank you very much and goodbye.
Velin does exactly the same thing that Marco does as well, so everybody run it. And Velin's on the mediums too, so that just goes to show, even on the harder compound, it is not easy out there. Ulrich on the mediums is flying 5 seconds ahead of Lucas Cedar now, who of course is up to second, having passed Giuseppe Denoy. Barrier hits the back of Cantor through Fanier chicane there. Violo is looking at this and saying, oh, this is feeling a bit like deja vu, isn't it, as the Corvette tries its best to get out of the way by going on the gravel there. Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie, by the way, 4.6 second though. Jaroslav Honzik, who's passed Benani for P2, by the way. So Honzik and Ritchie were two of our favorites going in, and they are now back into the first two positions as the GD3s desperately try and get out of the way. Velin almost side by side with the BMW through Blanchimont, and the DC racing car has to get out of the way there. Side by side go Duhamel and Bugan up the inside, but not late enough on the brakes. Thomas Duhamel holds on to P8 there.
Yep, as Duhamel is doing a very good job at defending the position currently, and Bugan is trying to really just reel on the tail of Duhamel, and seems to be like, well, Bugan does not have anything to respond with at the moment. He's just losing time. So at the moment, Duhamel has the advantage at the moment, as we see the hypercars now fighting. So Price, Barrier, and what seems to be like Perron.
Oh, nearly three wide at the end of the Camel Straight, and that is Price. Just Velin is off at Lecom, goes very, very wide, and Alphonse Velin is going to lose a couple of positions there. Surely that's going to let Cantor back for into P9. Indeed, it does. There as they go up the inside of the DCS Racing. That's the number 17 of Corbinian Windele that is just being dispensed there by the hypercars there. Johannes Price still holding up by the skin of his tail. Velin there rejoining it. There is Cantor, who gratefully goes through. This time he's glad he's not the one locking up there, but Velin was defending from Cantor, sorely going pretty wide in front of him, and I think just got a little bit too excited on the brakes here. Oh, they almost slowed down too suddenly. He has to avoid them.
Yep, and he
hit the wall too.
Yeah, hit the barrier as
yeah, Velin is continuing to fall into the LMP2s now. And he's got bashed because he's in the garage. So Velen is out. That's a very bad day. Velen, we saw having an excellent win in Tier 1 in Silverstone for Alien Motorsports in Hypercar. But this time, the Finn, sadly, is eliminated. So this is not turning into a great day for Alien Motorsports, of course, because we saw Radoshevich as well have that big accident. So not a good day to be a supporter of that team, as Sidoric and Manisha still 1.3 seconds apart, but Manisha has got the hurry up, has started to close up just a little bit in the last couple of laps here, taking a tenth or two out of his teammate then. So Mark Sidoric may well be feeling a little bit of pressure from his teammate, who's got a little bit more VMS experience, and he knows every inch of that Corvette as well. So Sidoric may not be out of the woods just yet then, despite his brilliant start to the race for the German.
Yep, and now in the hypercar field currently, Violo's still trying to catch on to Nathan Perron, but Perron is actually catching up to Valentin Barrier. I think he's gonna have enough overlap. No, he doesn't have enough overlap. So Nathan Perron still stays in 7th. At the moment, they're just closing up, and with 1 hour and 51 to go, it's gonna get more exciting, as you know, the rain might enter at some point of this race.
Well, more exciting. Well, let's put this into perspective. Violo, the man watching Skinner, and Cantor were both fighting for the lead in the early sort of 15 minutes of the race. Now they are fighting over 8th and 9th then. So that shows you just how up and down it is. And we've got Moritz Ulrich, who started third, leading by nearly 8 seconds now over Lucas Cedar, as Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci sets the fastest lap, pulls 5.8 seconds ahead of Jaroslav Honzik now.
Indeed, as well, not the best friends. That
is Price being held up by actually the sister Visceral of. Oh, and onto the grass!
No.
There goes Nathan Perron, just avoiding, and he's beached in the gravel there, just in front of the wall. Horrible bad luck for the 787 of Nathan Perron there. So the GT3 is causing absolute chaos in our 7th place battle, and it's all with, I believe, that is Artyom Manisha they're lapping there. Oh, a bit of contact there. So he's pushed off Perron by, I believe, that must have been Barrier. Yeah, Barrier was on the outside of him here in the upper light.
So Barrier pushes, well, it seems like he pushes.
That's going to be controversial, but Barrier was avoiding the Corvette, but he didn't quite leave enough space there for poor Nathan Perron there.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's very hard to tell at this point.
Perron's still going in P12 there, with the Rezo now fighting him. Feeling like a replay of what we saw at points last season between these two. So Nathan Perron's still in the race. He went into gravel slow. He shouldn't have taken too much damage, but that's a big setback for the Toyota man. And he's going to rely now on changeable weather to help him out. And you can see DeRezzo, just visibly gaining. Then you can see Benjamin George in his Toyota, teammate of Perron, now has joined this 12th place battle as well.
Yep, and currently DeRezzo just pretty much well, under pressure now from George at the moment, and
what's worse for Nathan Perron is round the outside of DeRezzo goes Benjamin George. Can George go all the way around the outside as they go down towards Brussels? A little bit of contact with the number 0 of Michele DeRezzo for 0 Point Racing. So you can see why they picked that number, can't you? And Benjamin George has no option but to back out now. What I was about to say is Perron about to catch up again to the Corvette of Artyom Manisha. I figured that didn't end well last time. So this time, though, much cleaner lapping attempt for all concerned. Julian Heno fending off Zoranovic then. Both of them having a couple of setbacks so far in this race, now fighting over P8. The McLaren 720S started just outside the top 10, or just inside the top 10, I should say. Has actually gained a couple of positions since the start of the race then overall, with Petrushkin and Thomas dueling away just up the road in front of them.
Zoranovic still trying to pressure on Heno, and further up down the road, Wolczak and Pelletier currently fighting for position here for 6th and 7th, and currently Wolczak trying to defend from Pelletier. Pelletier goes down the inside of Wolczak, and currently Wolczak has the better exit. It seems like, whoa, a bit squirrely out there, but yeah, Pelletier, well, did not gain a position, but wants to gain that position, honestly.
Yes, so Gianluca Wolzak really giving it his all to try and hold on there to P6 from Pelletier for Spirit Project Proto. Meanwhile, here's the Heno Zoranovic battle, and Strahindra Zoranovic, the Shizucheta's Igniters driver, the Serbian, giving Julian Heno, the Frenchman for Shadow One Esports, a bit of a hard time here. The problem is, of course, Petrushki is giving Heno a bit of a slipstream, and Michael Thomas at the head of this field in the BMW in P6 is towing all of them along here. So it's kind of a stalemate between all four at the present moment. But Zoranovic, his last lap, 218.9, which I believe is fastest of this group. So by quite a margin, though, although he doesn't get a great run down the straight here. This looks like Zoranovic. Or has he gotten through? No, he's dropped a few car lengths behind Heno there. So the 720S surprisingly quick there. Banani, Kaloxai both pit from 3rd and 4th in LMP2 then. So our first LMP2 stops for the leaders then. This is aggressive. They have decided it's not going to rain, and they are going to try and put the fresh tires on and undercut Honzik and Ritchie.
So it's all to play for here, because some of the people are doubting that the rain is coming. But at the moment, the leaders seem to be still staying out on track at the moment. So Ritchie still with 7.8 seconds ahead of Honzik at the moment. Well, can the rain actually play on here, as it's still overcast at the moment? So, yeah. As
People in real life praying for rain is the weather at the moment. As we see Pelletier this time back up the inside of Wolzak. You can see just behind on Thomas Duhamel looking on enviously at this battle for what is now 4th position, with the 2 cars pitting ahead of them then. And is staying out the right call. It remains to be seen. You can see overcast weather, air temperature 19 degrees, track temperature 21 degrees Celsius then. And Duhamel has now got Wolzak still having been overtaken by Pelletier, desperate not to lose another position. The exclusive esports 788 drive, as we see a hypercar, I think, is that backing off in front of them. Somebody not on the same lap. No, it's another LMP2. Oh, it's the damaged car, isn't it, of Crochet, who has fallen right to the back of LMP2. And maybe up the inside goes Duhamel into Fanier chicane. That was incisive. Is he able to complete that one right on the outside of Gianluca Wolzak? Yes, he is. So brilliant opportunism there from the blue squad by Race Esports, man.
Very, very fabulous there as well. And now we see the replay of, I think, what's happened here.
So Wolzak goes a bit wide through Pujon. It's understeering like a truck as they're starting to run out of medium tires at this point, and that gives Duhamel the opportunity to dive up the inside then.
Yep, so Duhamel really was on it here, and wow, just what a fabulous move from Duhamel as well. Absolutely fantastic.
To really keep, you have to stick with it on the outside there, and in they come to respond to the stops that we saw from Kaloxai and Banani then.
So now they're starting to now reload in the pits at the moment, so it's...
We've also seen our class leader pit as well, in the form of Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie.
Yep, so Honzik currently staying out for the moment, so he thinks it's best to stay out for now, and he's got a 9-second gap to Simone Minio, if I'm right with the name.
Yeah, indeed. So, unfortunately, as the LMP2s are coming into pits, I've got to go eat dinner for 10 minutes. So I'll leave you in the capable hands of Juho Sopanen.
Uh-oh.
So, oh, don't be like that. You showed up in time for the race. It's all good. Let's not worry about that at all. Let's worry about this great battle then we're about to see between Niclas Ulrich and Marco Cantor. Both all hypercars trying to run as long as they can, but they're all surely starting to run out of tires here, because even Niclas Ulrich now in the Toyota has cleared Marco Cantor then. Meanwhile, Sidoric still leading Manisha by 1.1 seconds. Manisha still very much challenging his teammate for the lead then, as Honzik running along, still leading now. But Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie with the fastest lap has come out into 4th position behind Luxak, who of course is yet to pit.
Yep, and we still see Shushishi. Oh my goodness, I can't spell that name. But yeah, they're all they're currently just trying to battle here. It's a four-way battle. Now it's no, it's not. It's going to be a three-way battle at the moment. So Krzyzewski and Heno currently, well, they are closer to each other, but Zoranovic closing up to Heno as well. And we're going to see a GT3 battle here for 8th position. And at the moment, Heno just trying to pretty much get away from Zoranovic, and Zoranovic just trying to catch up, as we see also the battle timing as well. But the thing is also that they're running low on the virtual energy, so at the moment they might stop, as we see Simone Minio and Honza currently in the pits for the moment, and also Lutsak as well. So this is going to be crucial whether it's not going to rain at the moment. So and as we see the Porsche going off, so Krzyzewski has gone off for a little bit, and now Heno it says hello, and Zoranovic also just trying to reel in and just piling the pressure on the McLaren up ahead. And at the moment the McLaren still stays in 8th place. Well, with 1 hour and 41 minutes to go, how can this race unravel at the moment? So current leaders, Moritz Ulrich and then Honzik at the moment, just exiting the pits, and he might be ahead at this point from Richie. So Richie's starting to come through the main straight, and now Honzik actually gets ahead, and there's a spin for Honzik, so he manages to save it, but has it cost a lot of time to him, and Richie now approaches through, well, he's currently on the straight to Eau Rouge and Radion, so seems like Honzik still in the lead, but with flat spotted tires. So it hasn't cost him a bit of time, but he has cost him a little bit of tire life. And now Bonani as well up to third. So Luksak is having a very long stop at the moment. So, and Luksak, well, he's not exiting the pits at the moment, so I assume that he might have had damage or he might retire. But Richie currently, well, he thought he had luck because Honzik spun out for the moment, exiting the pits, but then of course it was too late at the time. The Honzik is already ahead, so we'll see a battle between Violo and Price. Price currently just defending the Virtual Esports car, the Peugeot, basically, is trying to defend from Simone Violo from Old Style Racing. And now we go through Eau Rouge and Radion. And wow, look at the overspeed from Simone Violo. So he's gonna start to pile on. And will he go to the inside? Yes, he will. But Price is not giving him the space. He's actually now giving him the space. And now Simone Violo is saying, what are you doing? And well, Price squeezing him. But in the end, he defended it. But now Violo goes to the inside. Just tries to make a dummy on Price and tries to make Price make a mistake, basically. So 2 tenths between them, and for the moment it seems like they have settled down for now. So we see Passoni and Banchi currently just pretty much driving together at the moment, but they have 1% of virtual energy, so they will have to come into the pits as soon as possible. They are approaching the bus stop chicane where there's the pit lane entry, as Ulrich now, well, for Reflex Esports, now tries to overtake Panchi and Passoni, and now they will go into the pits. So now it's very crucial where they will end up. They're currently 4th and 5th. Well, 5th and 6th actually. My apologies. But now it is all to play for here. Many of the G3s are coming into the pits. Yellow flags in sector 3. And I wonder if that's one of the G3s getting caught out. and we get a replay. So here is Adolfs and Mukhtari. Oh, goodness gracious. So Mukhtari gets spun around by the LMP2, and that's cost him a little bit of time. No! Oh no. That is not how you want to rejoin. And wow, that is unfortunate. At the same time, mistakes happen at this point of the race. As if you start to make mistakes or get a hit, and you're desperately wanting to rejoin back on track to minimize losing positions, that's basically what happens sometimes. But that's the one thing you don't want to do. Anyways, so Moritz Ulrich currently leads for the Refrox Esports squad, and Lucas Seider in second, currently 7.4 seconds behind. So Seider has a lot of work to do, and well, it seems like they're gonna go into the pits because they have 2% of virtual energy, and Ulrich now clearing one of the LMGT3s, and well, Moritz Ulrich looking to have a very good race. Now the G3s are starting to pile on out of the pits, so now they're exiting the pits. So Passoni ahead of Panchi currently. So hopefully there will not be a moment in the pit exit, and there we go, no moments in the pit exit. And now Passoni is behind the LMP2. The LMP2 just passed by, and now Ulrich in the pits as well, and Seider as well. So this will be a crucial stop for the two Refrox drivers, as there's also Dinoya and Pocock as well. Well, actually, no. Yeah, Price currently stays out for the moment, so Price takes the lead. So this will be a crucial stop with whether the drivers for the hypercar teams, whoever will get ahead, as there's one of the 0-point GT3s right now just making his schedule stop as well. And now here's the Toyota. Well, at least so that this game has the mechanism to actually pull the car into its grid slot, and thankfully there will not be like a unsafe entry to their pit boxes as well. So Honzik still leads and is pouncing on basically the gap, but Richie on his last lap was pretty much faster. Well, no, Honzik, my apologies, Honzik actually was the fastest one. So Honzik currently just looking to extend that gap, and as you can see, Price currently leading. Well, he has to make his scheduled stop, and Honzik's just doing a great job at the moment as we see a replay. So this is Deschamps for AMS, and we'll see what happens. Oh no, oh no, and yeah, into the wall in Peron, and that is unfortunate. So mistake from the driver from AMS. Well, it seems like we're gonna be going to be on board with Jardier for a while, because the overlay seems to have stopped. So yeah, we're currently on board with Jardier, as I'm gonna check the chat at the moment. Everybody seems to have had pretty much fun at the moment as Price goes into the pits, and well, Richie currently just cannot get pretty much closer to Jardier, and there's a bit of chatting as well, as someone's saying amazing day for AMS in it. Well, seems like it. It seems like it, yeah. But either way, Mr. Jardier here just currently doing a great job. So now at the moment we don't have overlays, so I don't know who's currently in the lead, but I figure it's still Price for the moment, and that is a beautiful sound. Yeah, Price is still in the lead, but he's still in the pits. Moritz Ulrich does the fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 8. And Cedric also makes the fastest lap, 2:18.3 for the G3 class. So it's looking very good for Cedric at the moment. And for now, Ulrich will be taking the lead, as it seems like. And yeah, there you go. Ulrich into the lead. So he has to lap the 41 of Richie from the LMP2 class. And now Ulrich can now settle on with 1.5 hours to go. It seems like, oh, Denoya's having a drive-through penalty. So Denoya has a drive-through penalty. The 787 Cadillac has a drive-through. Seems like it's for speeding in the pit lane. So pretty much, well, how do I say it? Just a bit of disappointment for the Cadillac driver, as Marson up to 9th and Perron in 10th at the moment. So at the moment, seems like everything's pretty much settled for now. But never say never in VMS Contender Series, because anything can happen. And we're in Spa-Francorchamps. The weather can actually spill and spoil the race today for the drivers as well. And it can mix up the results. And yeah, it's looking pretty much a calm race at the moment, as Ulrich pretty much speeds on. And well, 5 seconds the gap between Sider and Ulrich, and Honzik, between him and Richie, it's 12.3, and Richie cannot basically close up to Honzik. So Honzik, aka Jardier, is just doing a very fantastic job, and I think the Czech Republic. Oh, so it seems like we've had some technical difficulties for a moment, but now we've had it back working. So now everybody can see what's going on in this race. And at the moment, yeah, we're seeing Pelletier and Duhamel having a battle here. Duhamel goes down the inside, and Pelletier actually will try to make an advantage here, going to the Camel Straight. So Pelletier just waiting for the Camel Straight now to open up for him. And Duhamel, well, might have not done the most smartest choice, but let's see how he defends here. So going through the Camel Straight, and seems like Duhamel actually still defends from Pelletier, and Duhamel actually has the advantage. So Pelletier has to pretty much defend. Oh, and hello, Edward.
Sorry, I
You're
just
back.
joined as 720S has gone backwards into the wall there, which is Adolph's, who'd been having a few issues early in the race, if memory serves as well. Killian Adolph's for grid 404, and error 404 for grid 404, missing rear wing not found, and unfortunately that could be the end of Adolph's day, as he's stationary in the garage. So I shouldn't make fun of them too much, because that's a bit of a difficult moment for them, as we now see Robin Deschamps and Michele De Rezzo fighting away as they try to lap the number 70 LMP2. I think it's Crochet trying to get out of the way there, and that holds De Rezzo up and allows Robin Deschamps in the Toyota to escape up the road, even if just for the moment there. So I think Giuseppe Di Noia in 8th, ahead of these drivers, has hit trouble and got a drive-through penalty, I believe. Is that for speeding the pit lane? As we see,
Yep.
somebody just won another Toyota as Perron, I think, going off track at Pujon. While Hutrishki is still defending from Zoranovic, who's gotten past Thomas, and is now fighting for that P7 position. Meanwhile, this is the lead fight as they let the LMP2s through. This is where it gets really mixed up, because we've got LMP2s and hypercars fighting for the same piece of track, Juho, and we're going back to looking at, is that Adolf stationary in the garage, I believe?
Yep, Adolf's in the garage, and well, Sidoric now, well, trying to keep Manisha behind. So Ayrton Manisha currently just trying to bounce on the pressure for the lead from Sidoric, and Sidoric just trying to let the LMHs by. Actually,
Am I right thinking you that everybody's pit apart from the duty frees at this point?
yep, you are right.
So these
Actually-
guys are just extending and extending, right?
Actually, no. The GT3s have actually stopped once.
Okay, they've stopped at least once. All right. Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to get the live timing working on my end, but I think we haven't got it, so we'll have to go
Yeah,
without then, as we see.
It's the same.
Or a bit more lapping attempts. There goes the Valkyrie. There's only one Valkyrie in the field, trying to lap to the LMP2s and the duty-free leaders at the same time. So that must be Gabor Por, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that might be Gabopol actually.
Well, there's only one Valkyrie, so
Yeah,
it has to be
yeah.
him. Unless there's somebody else who's switched the Valkyrie at the last minute and my sheet is wrong. But, which, of course,
Actually,
is
yeah.
entirely possible. So this is interesting because we had sort of expected the rain, if there was going to be any, this would be the most likely point of the race for it to happen. And so far, we are nearly a whole hour in and no sign of any rain whatsoever then. So these next 20 minutes are going to be crucial in deciding whether we're going to have a completely dry race or if the rain will become a factor then. But so far, those who maybe were gambling on it or relying on it could well be finding themselves in trouble then.
Indeed, as well, currently the LMH leaders, well, LMH leader is still doing a pretty good job at extending the gap at the moment, as the last lap.
This
Last
is
lap.
Perron and Mason.
Oh.
Masson fighting each other. Nathan Perron up the inside of Daniel Masson in the Merc Sim Racing. Masson was right at the back of the field early on, so he's gained a lot, I think, from undercutting everybody in the pit stop phase, essentially. And now we see Perron has cleared him fairly comfortably for the bus stop, and now it's Marco Cantor, a pole sitter's turn. Amazed our pole sitter to go from pole position all the way down to P10 then, which sums up how his day has gone so far, but still quite a way to go. We've seen Violo has gone from lower down up to P5 then. So he's actually gained in the sort of pit stop phase. Paul Kosh and Valentin Barrett also into third and fourth in the order. So they have both gained positions through the pit stops as well. Massen uses the straight line speed to be in order to go back around the outside of the Toyota. And here comes Cantor, just biding his time to the outside as he tries to get past Nathan Perron as well. Perron blocks him off. And they both find themselves still stuck behind Daniel Masson, who's defending P8 rather well, I think.
Yep, and Daniel Masson is doing a good job currently, just defending from Nathan Perron now, and Perron just trying to pounce on with every bit of time here. Oh, Nathan Perron goes very deep into the no-name corner, and now Cantor has a look around the outside, but either way, Perron still doing a fantastic job at the defense, and Cantor's pretty much frustrated. He just wants to get through. He just wants to get through the positions and also at least score more points. But there is still 1 hour and 24 minutes to go, Cantor. So don't you worry about it.
I don't think he will. As always, we see Cantor decide to build a little mini sandcastle on the gravel there on the exit with the left-hand side of his car. But he does rejoin the track quickly. Now we see another LMP2 being lapped. And of course, the LMP2s are faster than the GT3s, but they're still somewhat of a roadblock here, side by side. It's almost going to be free wide into the braking zone if they're not careful here. It's going to be Perron with the inside on Daniel Marzin at the bus stop for the second lap in a row. He has to make that move. And now Perron is going to make sure he can break away and defend, as you now see to the outside of Massen comes Marco Cantor in the Cadillac, and you can see Perron pulling across the block, Cantor doing the same, and there we go. So Massen is dispensed with, but now it is Perron versus Cantor as they go through Eau Rouge and Radion.
I've just heard also that Jardi's pit stop was only 28 seconds and others were 48 seconds, so that's why...
I did see him spinning on the exit of the pit lane, which is quite funny.
Yeah. Yeah,
So maybe he's
it was
not changed
quite
all of
funny.
his tires. I don't know. As we see Canter to the outside, tries to get the inside for the second part of Lecom. Oh, and Perron chops him off somewhat aggressively there, which I don't think he would appreciate too much. Would Marco Canter, who's well, he's done a few defensive chops of his own. So I guess what goes around comes around, which is not really a good stewarding methodology. So please don't do that. But either way, then. I mean, we saw 64 reports after the pro split race. This is a longer race with a whole other class of cars as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see nearly more than 64 reports potentially if people are going to be overzealous.
And there you go. Jardy is back in the pits at the moment.
There you go. So, the quicker pit stop earlier has had to make way for maybe another shorter pit stop here. But that's going to give Jeffrey Reno Ritchie the lead. It's going to give Christian Banani second, and it's going to put Jaroslav Honzik potentially down into 6th or 7th position here.
Right, so Zoranovic and Krzyzewski. There you go. I can now spell the name better. And currently just following each other and just looking to make the moves up to at least top 5 at the moment. Well, as I say that, it's still a long way to go for the G3 drivers for the moment. It might be shortened for them since the LMHs will lap them pretty much.
You know what the weather forecast is reminding me of, because I've seen comments in the chat saying, oh, the weather forecast is wrong. As there we go, confirmation. Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie is our new LMP2 leader, retaking it then, as it looks like. Where has Honzik reemerged 14th in class, I believe, behind the Moorkamp. So this strategy, maybe there was a mistake at the first pit stop. In fact, he's actually, down in 14th. He's still getting to the end of the pit lane here. So Crochet is actually got a good chance of getting past him too, as Wengler and Yorkamp dispute 12th position. Yet Ratte also. So Honzik is nearly at the very back of the field now, as we see Evan Wengler defending in the number 780. Moorkamp dives to 23 up the inside for the Stinger Motorsports team.
Yep,
on the exit of Lecom, and flashing his lights wildly. He feels Wengler didn't give him a lot of space there.
Yep, as I see from the timing sheets, yep, Honzik is actually at the back, so I don't know what's happened to him.
Yeah, potentially he underfueled, thinking it would rain, and maybe he didn't change tires either, which would explain the spin. Or he might have been spinning on cold tires, who knows.
Yeah, possibly just cold tires and then just a bit of a... Just try to warm them up, but not in the most fashionable way possible.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at the virtual energy, which is not unhelpful because the LMP2s don't have any, so I couldn't see if what the fuel level was essentially. But
yeah, pretty much. They're just pretty much zilch in well, the virtual energy. So there is no way. There's wow.
Speaking of zilch, as we see a bit of lagging, as Henkel fights Violo. It looks like the chances of rain are rapidly decreasing by the lap. Then, as you can see, it's going to go from overcast to slightly less overcast by the end of the race. Then, because we saw this in the pro endurance race here, and the Tops Pro Split last season, that there was a chance of rain in the second half of the race. Everyone was waiting, and it was right at the final lap after the winner had crossed the line, as the GD3s were finishing their race, that it did start raining, and there are a couple that did run out of fuel. Right after the race did cross the line. And there we go. Perron and Canter side by side. Canter trying to go round the outside on the exit there. The run down to Bruxelles. Perron is going to hold his line up the inside. This is very brave from Marco Canter here. Both of these drivers on the medium tires there. Canter might dive up the inside into Speaker's Corner, and indeed he will do so. But again, Perron gets the better exit. Almost onto the grass there. So Canter is almost not giving a lot of space here. A little bit offline for Nathan Perron again through Pujon. And Canter just still there on the left-hand side, but finally Perron gets the track position there. So that was Marco Canter not willing to yield there, and Perron desperately trying to return to the racing line in time.
It was near millimeters of of recipe to disaster, basically, for those both. As
Oh.
Henkel now tries to make a move on Violo, and Violo goes a bit deep into the corner, but still manages to hold on. And Henkel currently just thinking where to go and just flashing out of frustration or trying to just distract. That's still trying to catch up to Nathan Perron. There's an LMP2 on their way, and now we can just look down the inside, but things better of it. And Perron still in 8th place, but for how long will he be in 8th place? And now Marco Cantor still just looking to get by. Still looks down the inside, but just tries to
He's setting up for Camel Straight, I think.
yeah,
you know.
basically, yeah. So now we are approaching Eau Rouge and Radion here, and now we go through that. Now we approach the Camel Straight as Cantor still just trying to find a way to pass, and now goes to the outside, and now Perron still just holding on his line, and now squeezing Cantor a little bit, but either way, Cantor goes by, and now the frustration has actually pushed on to a position.
Yeah, there we go. So Cantor, persistence pays off, but Perron definitely will be frustrated as here is Morecamp. What has happened to Johan Morecamp? Losing the rear end at 23, and he nearly hit. Was that it was either Luxak or Wengler that he was fighting with there, as we now cut back to Cantor. And just coming out and cross in front of the 91, which is Thomas Duhamel in 5th position in the LMP2 class. So not a lot of space there as the two classes negotiate each other. Henkel, by the way, still right behind Simone Viola. It's interesting that the soft tire runners have not been lapping all that competitively. Viola in the 204.6s, whereas the medium runners, it feels like the mediums are very much the tires to be on especially in hypercar. Well, I guess there isn't really an alternative tire choice in any of the other classes, so it is very much the only tire to be on.
Yep. Well, we've got now 1 hour and 15 minutes to go, and now Zoranovic is trying to pounce on to Passoni, and now Zoranovic actually will prepare his move into the Camel Straight, it seems like. And at the moment, I saw further back there was a bit of battling and overtaking going on. I think that was just to lap the GT3s, and also there's a bit of tussling going on with the hypercars, and what a camera shot that is as well.
You've got to admire the performance of Personi as well, who qualified, I think, the bottom end of the top 10 in the race, and has made great progress to get him to P5, of course. Not used to seeing the Tatum livery on a Porsche 911. Usually in GT3 it's on a Mustang in the last couple of seasons, essentially, or on a Cadillac or a Ferrari 499P in hypercar then. And I think Personi was driving a 499P in what was essentially a contender split last season, where he had his fair share of issues beyond his control, connection issues particularly, that ruled him out of a couple of races, but he had to have some good performances nonetheless. He drove a BMW, of course, so it wasn't a 499P. There we go. I think he might have switched midway through the season, but I could be misremembering that. He was definitely in the BMW at the end of the season, as Niclas Domino rightly corrects me then. At the moment, he's in a 911, fighting against the Lexus of Strahindra Zoranovic, Shadu Cheddar's Igniter's driver. And Zoranovic, of course, is a bit of a mainstay of Contender over the last season and a bit, is the Serbian. And Personi may have to really have his wits about him in order to hold on to that position. Here is Moritz Ulrich still leading and pulling away from Lucas Seeder by 3.5 tenths per lap. Moritz has been absolutely exceptional in this one so far, and Lucas Seeder still just about in touch, about 7 or 8 seconds behind. But the Cadillac, the Referox Esports driver, not really making too many inroads at the present moment then. So you've got to admire the job that Ulrich has done. Started third, stayed out of trouble, and has just consolidated that lead consistently as the race has gone on. And it is looking more and more like Moritz Ulrich may well be on course for his first win of this in Contender to open his account this season then. But there's still quite a way to go, still at least one more pit stop for everybody to do to get to the end. And that's assuming, of course, that the weather stays very much as is. 18.4 degrees Celsius air temperature.
Yep. As well, it's currently looking like it's gonna be a, how do I say, a Refrox Esports 1-2, as Morris Ulrich is also in Refrox, so is Lucas Harder as well. And at the moment, well, it seems like they're pretty much comfortable, but it is still a long way to go for the moment, and we'll see what will happen next. Will the rain actually approach anytime soon, or
it looks like we're sort of going out of that third time slot, aren't we, into time slot number 4 for the final fifth. That's the final time slot 4 is with basically 50 minutes to go of their 25 minute increments then, and you can see there 32 minutes. So next 32 minutes we're going to go from overcast to sunnier overcast, I guess. There's not a huge difference between those two to me, but other than maybe the temperature, actually it's 18 degrees in both instances, so there's no difference whatsoever really, other than they can maybe turn the headlights off. but yeah, there is a Honzik still in 16th position, and the only hope now for Jardier is if this unconventional strategy pays off, because he's had to pit out of sequence everybody else to do an extra stop. So he's got to hope he's got the pace and everybody else in front of him. He was about over 3 tenths slower than Rate the previous lap, unfortunately for him. So I don't think Honzik is looking good here. I think he might be at best fighting for the lower points in the top 10 if he can maybe recover out of this situation he's found himself in. That spin and the sort of having to sort of half and half the strategy has left him with just a lot of track position to gain at this point.
Yep, and just to clear for the viewers, the overlay just disappeared, but we're just having technical difficulties. But at the moment, it's getting fixed, so don't you worry about it, and apologies for that. So, well, there you go. Now it's back. So, yeah, Honzik might actually salvage a top 10 as it is right now. Oh, and we just...
we've lost our Mustang that was running in the top 4 in GD3 Congressi, isn't it? Congretel, sorry, Lucas Congretel, Shadow 1 Esports. He has dropped out. He may have been disconnected there. We didn't quite see what happened, but he was... The way he suddenly dropped out, we didn't see a yellow flag or anything. Makes you think he did get disconnected there.
Yep. Well, we didn't see a yellow flag for the moment, so I think he has...
Nothing that might have happened. The sun has very much gone down in Europe, so it's not as bad as it was at the start of the race, but heat exhaustion will be an issue here. So it is entirely possible that the drivers that are really fatiguing at this point, that didn't have a break for dinner like I did, are probably crying enough at this point in some instances, which is more than fair, because it's very demanding. Nobody really wants to do a 2 hour 25-minute race in a heat wave. But those that are continuing, we're very grateful that they are then. Still, vast majority of the field still going, as we now see our GD3 leaders closing up. Artyom Manisha has really turned up the wick lately on his teammate Mark Sidoruk, and Mark finds himself really having to fend off a very feisty looking Corvette here. This is interesting for Visceral. Will they let their drivers fight, or will they say don't try and do anything too silly until the end of the race, basically?
Indeed, as well, correcting you on Congresso, he's actually made a pit stop, so...
Oh, okay. It did say DNF next to his name. I didn't realize he pit.
Yep.
There he is, 15th. He's dropped out the points. Oh, and it's that...
That's Benjamin George.
It's Benjamin George, sorry. So what has happened to Benji here?
So let's see here. Yeah, there's going to be an LMP2 on his way. And I think he might make contact also with the GT3. Yes, he does. Ooh. And round she goes. And oh my goodness gracious, that is a heavy impact. So, well, that's lost his rear tire as well. So he's out. He's out. And that will be a no-go as well. Oh, he made contact after he spun.
Oh dear. So just a messy situation at Paul Frere corner. Of course, that promotes... I think it was he was fighting with, I think, Niclas Ulrich, Gabriel Poor, Daniel Marcin, and Michele De Rezzo, all who gained a position. There is George in the 78, who spun at the bus stop, trying to get back into the pit lane for repairs, I suspect. Toyota.
But that should be a no-go. As you can see, his front left tire has actually gone off, so the brakes won't be working brilliantly because of that.
Yeah, either way, it's Unfortunate, we did know that was going to be the main hazard of this race, not tripping over the GT3s or the LMP2s as a hypercar, and you can see the front left is dragging horribly. I think there might be a front left wheel missing here.
Yep, that is actually correct. So that's the front left tire actually missing from well, from
Ooh.
poor old Benjamin George as well.
And look at this. I think Michael Thomas has just made a move on Nikolai Hatrushki. Went 3/10 quicker the previous lap. Here we go. Down the straight, you can see the two LMP2s. The LMP2 and the hypercar of the 787 going through there. And then Michael Thomas picks his moment, goes to the inside, late on the brakes in the BMW, and the 01 Esports driver now up into P7 in class. So excellent opportunities for Michael Thomas there. Nikolai Hatrushki, maybe what I talked about, the temperatures in Poland absolutely skyrocketing today. So it could be that Hatrushki is really just trying to get to the end at this stage then. Just an hour left to go. But he's sticking with Michael Thomas to his credit. Maybe 91 has got something up his sleeve to get the pole back into the top 7 here.
Yep, and I hope the drivers actually have a drink box as well, with the drink button as well.
I certainly do. Just got my water bottle to hand. Some now, in fact.
As well, hourly hydration break for Mr. Edward Hunter for the moment as well. And
it's first to work, all this talking. Here comes Julian Henno looking to punish Nikolai Hatrushki even more. There goes one of the LMP2s to the outside. Late on the brakes goes the 780. That is Evan Wengler, but it is more importantly Henno up the inside of Hatrushki here. Nikolai Hatrushki, who usually used to compete in the hypercar class in the first 2 seasons. This is sort of his return to the top class consistently. And you can see around the outside has gone Julian Henno. So the Shadow 1 driver up into P8. You can see the virtual entry there, about 38% left for the both of them. So there won't be too much further to go before the final stops here, as I believe we've just seen a move happen here. This is Thomas Duhamel down into Bruxelles, the 91. Oh, having a bit of a lag moment there before it goes to the garage. And then Duhamel, I think, is still going P6 in class. So no big drama there, but Blue Squad by Race Esports will be slightly concerned about that, whether Duhamel's connection can last for another hour or not.
Yep, and I hope there's not much packet loss for the drivers as well for the moment. And Ratte currently just trying to hold off, well, not holding off, just letting the hypercar through. I really thought that was an LMP2 for a moment.
Just behind him is an LMP2, isn't it? That's Honzik we're looking at the moment. And that is the hypercar that's just lapped him. That's our Opelite driver, which is Valentin Barrier, of course.
Oh, yeah.
He was in P4, of course. And in come Kaloxa and Banani. They were the first to pit in the first round of pit stops. And that's being reflected here. So will this be enough to get them to the end? I'm not entirely certain of that. They might have to do splash and dash in the final couple of minutes.
Indeed, as we also see now, yeah, that's Honzik still. Well, just lapping the GT3, and now we see Panchi and Passoni right now just... well, Panchi's currently just following Passoni at the moment. So
Zoranovic got past both of these drivers there. That's very impressive. So Rahindra Zoranovic, the Serbian, proving his worth. Up into P4, he's about 10 seconds behind his older sparring partner Kolosov. I always used to get Kolosov and Zoranovic mixed up in commentary last season, so I'll try not to do that. But look, meanwhile, Manisha is now right behind Sidoruk and challenging for the lead that he lost early doors. Remember, it was a brilliant pole lap from Artyom Manisha, and he's been waiting patiently to get revenge on Sidoruk in the Aston Martin Vantage here. So here comes the Corvette then. Sidoruk gets, trying to really maximize his exit here because he knows Manisha is making him feel very, very vulnerable here. As they go down the Camel Straight, will Manisha pull out to the outside or inside very, very late here? It is going to be a move up the inside, but Sidoruk breaks out a little bit later, and the similar Visceral car is able to hold, but the Corvette of Manisha, the Belarusian, will be feeling now is the moment to strike with just an hour left to go in the race. They're closing in. Remember, they can go a bit longer than some of the prototype cars. So both of these drivers, it may be a splash dash to get to the end. Manisha is feeling a bit impatient as he flashes lights here. You can tell here After going so well at Spa in the past, he is desperate to take that first Contender split win. He's finished on the podium before, but never quite won. Is that Benjamin George, who's come to a stop down the Kemmel Straight as Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie pits from the lead in LMP2.
Yep, Benjamin George has decided to call it a day because of this
He
incident.
almost did a
here.
Honzik there.
Yeah, he almost did a Honzik, but this time it was way worse for himself.
Yeah, that is in the wall, I'm afraid. So that puts Benjamin George, who had fallen, I think, to the very back of the field. Well, not quite near the back. There's still a couple of GT3s going about. I think, I think he may be at the very back, along with Alphonse Vellin, both of them several laps down then. In come a few more of our LMP2s. Anthony Pelletier, Bugan, Duhamel, Wolzak, Verte, all being serviced here. And yeah, this is going to be interesting. Will there be even a small chance for Jaroslav Honzik there, who just laps the Porsche into Paul Frere corner there? This is a crucial moment for his strategy, whether he's going to emerge anywhere near the drivers he's competing against. He's, of course, currently ahead of Koloksai and Banani. He's about 9 seconds ahead of David Koloksai, of course. As now we see Jeffrey Reno Ritchie being released from the exit of the pit lane. He should still have the net lead. Through goes Evan Wengler, who is yet to pit. And there is Jardier, Jaroslav Honzik, just negotiating, coming up to La Source now as Ritchie is exiting the pit lane now.
It is now, well, Honzik currently just trying to make way through the GT3s, and now he's gonna try to pounce on Ritchie as well. So Honzik currently not anymore in the back of the B2 field, now up to 8th position. Now he has a lot of time to still gain.
So he's about 12 or 13 seconds behind Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie then. So Ritchie is held exactly where he was. Honzik is sort of... the whole point of the strategy was to try and undercut and to take the lead with the sort of shorter stop at the beginning. And unfortunately, it's not quite panned out that way. Although he has held on to what should be a net second, but we haven't seen our top 6 pit yet, as we see him risking it to lap Panchi and Pisoni there. Panchi a little bit slowed, which gives Pisoni a little bit slowed, but gives Panchi just a sniff of 5th position here up the inside into Pujon there as he tries to follow through. That looked like Nicholas Henkel there in the Pulse car.
Yep, and that was very risky indeed, as Pisoni now still ahead of Panchi at the moment, as mid-race results shown here. So Marit Ulrich leads at the moment. So
12 seconds.
Wow.
It's 13 now, actually.
Yeah, indeed. As Lucas Seider, his teammate, actually follows in through.
These are the overall results there. You can see Simone Minio currently leading in LMP2, but I believe he is yet to pit. Oh, I think he may have just come into the pits along with Pia Pierce. So Gregor Luxak is actually leading at the moment for Go Team. You can see the rest of... there is Jeffrey Reno Ritchie, Honzik, Koloksai, Banani, Pelletier. Those are the top 4 of those that have pit so far. And then you see Sidoric and Manisha 7/10 apart as they fight for the GD3 lead with Kolosov and Zoranovic 3rd and 4th. Then we got to keep our eyes on that particular battle. Manisha's lost a couple of attempts. He's 1.1 behind Sidoric now. And then you see the rest. There, Motibatse is our most recent retirement. But yeah, we had a full 12 or 13 retirements. And it's good we had so many starters then, because not a whole lot of finishes by comparison. Although certainly we've got 15 still running in Hypercars, 16 in LMP2, and I believe 15 in GD3.
Indeed, as early Artyom Manisha has actually lost a bit of time to Sidoric, so Sidoric currently pretty much well ahead at the moment. So I wonder if Artyom had made a mistake.
Yeah, it could well have done. Could be some cars coming through to lap them. Just put him at a disadvantage. There is Heno, who's past Thomas there. We were praising Thomas for his move earlier on Hutrishki. Now Julian Heno, from a little bit further back, has gotten through too. And they're right behind the Pisoni-Panchi battle. So the battle of the P's. One Italian versus another. Tatum Rezdeg Esports versus Renova competition, and it is Porsche versus Lexus, of course.
Indeed, as now it's still game on with the two Italians.
Our leader Luxak having, I think, a little half spin at bus stop there, so not good news for Go Team, and that of course is going to promote Jeffrey McGraw, Reno Ritchie back into the lead.
Yeah, indeed, very unfortunate for Luxak. Yep, looks like it's going to be a spin. Yep,
Oh,
there you
just
go.
a big 360 there. And always painful to do that when you're within sight of the pit entry as well at the low speed. As we now see, is that Niclas Ulrich, sorry, just lapping Pisoni there as he tries to chase down Nathan Perron. Nathan Perron has gotten back into 9th position. Perron has had so many setbacks in this race, but it's good to see the Toyota man is yet to give up, even though he's about 10 seconds out behind Marco Cante in 8th.
Indeed, as Heno and Panchi now actually catched up to each other.
Oh, that's Julian Heno's got past Panchi in all of this, and he's now challenging Pisoni for P5. So Heno is continuing his impressive rise up the order then.
Indeed, as everything seems to be pretty much coming back to life here at the moment. As
Manisha batter in 7/10 of Sidorik, his teammate then. You can definitely tell respect between the two at play because Manisha hasn't gone for too many big dive bombs yet, but will that be the case for Heno? Down the Camel Straight they come. Miguel Reno Ritchie now re-inherits the lead on this particular lap. But here comes the McLaren of Julian Heno. Pisoni defends, but Heno's going to have to go the long way around. Will the Frenchman for Shadow One Esports just about keeps two wheels on track there, but it's the Porsche that is going to force him out wide and onto the gravel there.
Oh, yep. And Heno said, well, actually, Pisoni says have a bit of that to Heno, and Heno is pretty much frustrated because of that. So yeah, I understand his frustrations, and now he's on the ground, so losing a position to Panchi as well.
Four very different cars fighting for 5th position here. We got the 911, 720S McLaren, the Lexus RC, and the BMW as well of Thomas. And not too far behind this, another Porsche of Hutrushki, who's still just about sticking there in 9th position and could be there to take advantage if anything goes wrong for those ahead. They are starting to get a bit bunched up, especially as the chaos of the prototypes, both classes coming through the lap them all at the same time here.
Indeed, that's now one of the LMP2s. That's the number 88 car. That seems to be like, well, I can't see from the stream.
I think that's Deschamps just lapping them as well. Yep. The 88 is Simon Mignot, isn't it? In P5 in class. There he is, just behind in the dark blue and green machine.
Indeed, as now we see a replay here. This is Price versus Violo. And Violo currently just behind, I think. Oh wait, no, that's
so
Price.
Price
actually
up the inside of Violo, so he's gotten through, I think, into P6 there through Blanchimont as well. That's excellent move there by the German Johannes Price on Simone Violo, Italian if memory serves. But yeah, Violo and Price both on the soft tires, but the Cadillac seems to be struggling a little bit more at this phase than the Peugeot.
Indeed. And now Richie and Honzik currently are 1 and 2 at the moment, seems like. And well, think of all of that, what's happened basically. Now
Honzik's closing in actually, interestingly.
Yeah, he's
about 6/10 per lap. The gap now gone from about 10 seconds to 7.5 seconds. So full credit to Jardier. He's putting on a show for his legions of fans and subscribers, and certainly for us too as well.
Indeed. Jardia himself basically doing a fantastic job at the moment, catching up to Richie at the moment. So we see also Sidric and Manisha again. So Artyom has actually just caught up back to him. As we see Heno and Passoni. I think this is going to be a battle between them.
Yeah. Here we go then. Heno late on the brakes, up the inside into Lecom, and this time Passoni powerless to stop him then. We see comments in the chat Guard98 says brilliant fight, which I believe is Francesco Gardnetto. Joel Frime says gorgeous racing, and FBG Racing says go Matthias. So unfortunately, Panchi has just lost the position to Thomas. He's now into P7 then. So the support not working for Renault for competition. But for Visceral, they're controlling the front of this one in GD3. Sidoruk, 4/10 ahead of Manisha, who's upped his pace once again. He's about 3/10 faster on that previous lap, as there's Michele De Rezzo not giving up on trying to get into the top 12. Daniel Marzen from the near the back of the grid, the number 14, defending like crazy in that BMW from the Cadillac.
Marzen just having to pass the G3s right now.
Oh, this is awkward for Sidoruk. He's got to let them both go off through him at the last source hairpin, and that could create an opportunity then for Artyom Manisha, who's been waiting for this. Then can he get the run through Origin Radion to retake the lead, as the Rezo is right on the tail of Marzen?
Indeed, now Marzen and De Rezzo are currently just fighting and fighting and fighting at the moment, because De Rezzo is closing up. But how much speed does the Cadillac have compared to the BMW? As I say that, it has a lot of speed, and he goes by on the inside. So brilliant stuff from De Rezzo. And a great pass. So Marzen now down to 13th.
Yeah, De Rezzo. Oh, as we see more of the traffic negotiating each other. I believe this is Pelletier who are on board with, defending through Thomas Duhamel, and also threading a needle between the battle in GD3 that we've just sort of been keeping an eye on. So that is the Porsche, I believe, of Maxime Wendler that they've just cleared there. And before that, it was Corbini and Windele they were dealing with right in the middle of... Oh, it's Pisoni, sorry. It's the Pisoni battle, sorry. There we go. I forget how slow the GT3s are compared to the MP2s even. But you can see Duhamel is closing right in on Pelletier in this P6 fight. Last lap for Duhamel, 207.2. Pelletier last lap cancelled due to cutting the track somewhere. Pierce hit trouble. Oh dear. So the ERAP competitive driver, the Frenchman, losing a low position and dropping out the top 10. So here we go. He's fighting with Volsac behind into... Oh, he's just lost the rear end as number 13. No. And Pierre very unlucky there.
Yep. Pierre having a very... pretty much a bit of a spin, basically. And now is down in what seems to be like 12th place at the moment, so very unfortunate. As we see Thomas and Panchi, and whoa, the 253 LMP2 now goes by on Panchi, now goes through on Thomas as well. So the BMW versus the Lexus currently. And as we can see also at the rear shot as well, there's more other cars coming by as well. And that's, I think that's one of the, yeah, it's still one of the LMP2s. So we are not still over with the LMP2s, and there is the hypercar of
that's Volsac.
Oh,
just about threading through there, and there's the race leader, Moritz Ulrich, as you rightly point out, coming through. He's been maintaining that gap. Cedar's actually taken about almost a second out of him, but it's been sort of fluctuating between 12 and 13 seconds for a little while here. So Cedar's going to have to put quite the charge to steal the win for Riferox in this final part of the race, as here comes Duhamel, much closer to the back of Anthony Pelletier for P6 in LMP2. Here we go. Blue squad by Race Esports versus Spirit Project Proto. And it's the blue car of Duhamel around the outside, the number 91 back into the top 6. It's been a real roller coaster race for Thomas Duhamel so far, but he has performed excellently in it.
Yep. As well, Duhamel has done a perfect job to fight back, and now Krzyzewski, and Panchi now just having a...
So Mikolai's got through into P8 then, so Panchi continuing to fall down as they both dip wheels into the gravel on this exit of Lecom and into Bruxelles. That was a bit desperate from Panchi, trying to go side by side with Pierre as well, who was trying to lap the Porsche there. And meanwhile, Cantor and Viola, while we've seen this before at the very start of the race, so Cantor has been passed by Johannes Price and is now falling into the clutches of his old friend Simone Viola here. So will Cantor defend as hard as before? I suspect he will.
Yeah, I suspect he will as well, because I mean, these are not the best of friends at the moment. So Cantor and
they've
Viola
had a lot of time to get over it, to be fair.
Yeah, they've had a lot of time to get over it. But I think they're still not the best of friends, but I think they'll apologize to one another by basically going side by side and seeing who will not.
So they are very low on virtual energy, as you can see. So one or both of them will be heading in for their final pit stops. And yeah, 47 minutes to go. So the big question will be how many of the LMP2 decide to do an extra stop. Because if Honzik has called the right at the timing of his stop, he may have actually got the jump on everybody, which will be really fascinating to see. As this is how Cantor and Violo started battling just before we cut to them. I think Cantor tried to dive up the inside into La Source. Viola left him plenty of room, and then I think, yeah, is now trying to fight with him again.
He does. Now it's. Oh, wow, it's gone
Cantor
a
pulling
bit
away.
more. Yeah,
So the
Cantor's
medium's
pulling
holding
away.
up well.
Yeah, it seems like so. And now that seems to be like Manisha's in the pits. Yeah, Manisha's in the pits.
Well, Artyom is once again pitting before Mark Sidorek, so he's trying to get the undercut on his teammate here on the fresh tyres. As there is the Porsche Vialard just coming through into what will be a P5 at the moment, ahead of Zoranovic.
And right now, Vialard just 3.3 seconds behind Windele at the moment, as we see a hypercar just exiting out of the pits, it seems like, or one of the LMP2s. That sounds reckon. Yeah, that's Gabo Paul is exiting the pits. So Dinoya goes by and just gets rid of the drive-through penalty, basically.
Yeah, it looks like Barrier, Ulrich, Cantor, Viola, and De Rosa
Oh.
all coming in for service, and Gabor has to cut the track. The Valkyrie, clearly the V12 struggling, the engined car struggling to make it through the Lecombe chicane then. So Robin Deschamps, he's staying out and gaining a few positions as a result. There's Manisha. This is going to be a really important outlap. He was about 7/10 behind when he pit. You can see Sidorek has got the hammer down as well, because he knows he needs to make sure he's got as much gap as possible. Out of the pit lane comes Manisha. Are we going to see Sidorek in this time around in the Aston Martin from the lead? He's coming up to the bus stop chicane now. Will the Valkyrie, not the Valkyrie, the other Aston Martin, the Vantage, come into the pits? Yes, he will. So he's pitting the lap after. Ulrich also pits from the lead in hypercar.
Indeed, now it's all to play for here for the G3 class, and now Ulrich basically pits from the hypercar class. So does Lucas Sider as well. So the two Refrox drivers currently just doing the job at the moment to, well, do their scheduled stop at the moment. So does Paul Cook as well, go into the pits. And now it seems like Henkel will take over. Actually, no, he has lower energy, so it seems like Price will take the lead. So Henkel goes into the pits as well.
So there we go. Mark Sidorek will, of course, lose track position to Vindele, Thomas, and Hutrishki, who are all going to continue out there. That puts Sidorek into fourth. The gap to Manisha will be interesting. There's Manisha just going through Fanier chicane now. Plenty of virtual energy on board. Sidorek will be hoping to get out of the pits as soon as possible. There may be the temptation to underfuel on virtual energy just to make sure that Manisha does not get out ahead here. So it'll be fascinating to see. The Spa is going to be so crucial in an endurance race like this not to run out of fuel on the final lap. So into the last source hairpin in the pit lane comes Sidorek. He should be comfortably ahead then in third position of Artyom Manisha, who's just going through Blanchimont now.
Manisha having to pretty much speed up and get past Sidorek at the moment, and Sidorek just going through what
The problem
seems
for
to be
Mark
like...
is that it feels like an endless pit lane because of the endurance layout, that you can't get off the pit limit right until you get right to the bottom of the hill here, essentially.
Exactly, and now Wendele will, well, he's already taken over the lead at the moment. Now Sidorek will go on, and now Manisha is trying to now speed up that car, just pushing every bit of that acceleration from the Corvette as well. Sidorek is now ahead for the moment, but
Yeah.
at the moment it seems like, yeah, Sidorek will be ahead.
And in fact, Congratel is in the middle of them. I think he was having a pit stop at the same time as well. And there he is in the Mustang, the Shadow 1 Esports Mustang, of course. So that's another distraction that Manisha didn't need. So in fact, he's really lost out in this. So by pitting a lot later, Sidoric has put in less fuel and had a shorter stop.
Seems like so. And Sidoric just currently comfortably ahead of Manisha. And now it is Congratel's turn to actually put on the pressure. And here is Pia Pia in the pits.
Pia Pia in the pits. How often are we going to say that this season? So let's see a replay then. Johannes Price, by the way, staying out on the softs, is now ahead of Moritz Ulrich. But we expect he should pit and come out behind. As here is, that looks like Henkel coming out the pits. There's been an overtake just behind him between Valliard and Pisoni. Pisoni getting through. So Pisoni was one of those drivers that hit, wasn't he? And is now, of course, into 10th position in class. But that was P41 overall in the race order. That's why we got the overtake for P41 at the bottom, which sounds like it's trying to make something unimportant sound really important. But it is actually important because it's the last position in the top 10. As there's Niclas Ulrich going up the inside. Was Niclas on, that must have been Niclas Henkel, of course. Yep. So those on the cold tyres in Hypercar and LMP2 add a bit of a disadvantage to those who pit with the lap before, of course.
Indeed, as well, currently it's Perron trying to put on the pressure.
Congratel has actually overtaken Sidoric for P2 there, so the cold tyres taking a while to get up to temperature. Wendele pits, and I think Congratel can't be far behind because no way is he going to be able to eke the fuel left. There's Marco Cantor up the inside of Niclas Henkel as well on the run into Blanchimont there. So not a lot of space, but Henkel just about saw the Cadillac in time, and the Ferrari gives way as Cantor actually locks up a little bit, but just about gets to slow down in time for the bus stop chicane then. So Manisha knows now he's got clear road in front of him to Sidoric, needs to push like crazy to catch back up as Panchi now going around the outside of Tom Villiard.
Villiard just trying to now defend, but he cannot defend, and he gets pushed off to the AstroTurf, it seems like. And now Panchi just manages to take control, and there's a lockup that seems to be like it is Price, and Price has actually lost a bit of tire life in all of that, it seems like.
Yeah. Johannes Price in the lead of the race, by the way, in the Visceral Peugeot. Looking good. He's 81 seconds out of Moritz Ulrich, and is actually lapping the Tour 1.9s, which is pretty competitive here. So, be interested to see where he filters out, particularly in that sort of fight. I think Ulrich and Cedar might be a bit too far ahead, although Cedar 91 seconds behind. This is a quick stop here. Price might be in the box seat, so you never know here, as Honzit pits from P2, so he wasn't able to get to the end. But how many of the other LMP2s are going to have to do the splash and dash, and how many are going to try and desperately lift and coast to get to the end here? This could be really fascinating if Honzik goes aggressive and has to fight his way through here.
Going to be very huge for Honzik as well, as now he's in the pits for the moment. Now he's going to drop down, and we see a replay here. This might be an incident. Well, actually, no.
This might be another getting through. So Sidoric into Pujon, cold tyres, strung it turned in. You can see how wide he's going. And he's left the door open for Lucas Congratel. And
it was near contact.
There we go. Lucas was not going to wait for that one, was he? He just absolutely went for it, and rightly so, because he's got his own race to worry about. Does Congratel, who I think is still out there, the Frenchman, still getting the life in the fuel tank. Yeah, as we see behind Niclas Ulrich, there is Cantor, who is fighting away with another, that's an LMP2, sorry, that they're both lapping there. So Cantor struggling to get on terms with Niclas Ulrich, who's having a bit of a late race start, similar to his namesake Moritz Ulrich, isn't it? The two Ulrich brothers starting to really get the hypercar field something to think about. Price now pits. Now this will be crucial. Where is Price going to come out relative to particularly Valentin Barry and Paul Koch, I think will be the interesting one.
Yep, indeed, and Johannes Price pulling off that extremely insane gap of 81 seconds now. Pits.
Side by side between Ulrich and Cantor. Cantor up the inside, late on the brakes, and back through into P6, but can he get slowed down in time for the chicane? Just about. Oh, contact, and round goes Cantor at Lecom. Disaster for the number 12 there, and Marco Canter's race once more falling apart there. Let's see how that happened then, Juho.
So here we go. So Canter just following the slipstream basically through Eau Rouge and Radio, and then starts to seem to make a move now because there is a GT3 ahead. Now he's between. Now they get past the GT3, and it seems like Canter actually just focused on the hypercar, and then just realizes, yeah, there is a GT3 and has to brake really hard, but he realizes it's too late to actually make the corner with his usual line.
Sideric in front of them as well.
Yeah, Sideric in front, and he might have had a jump scare there, honestly, because well, Canter nearly hits Sideric, and now
well, instead of going up to P6, he's down to P10, so costly error there. Price still being serviced. Mozoric about to go through any second now, retake the lead, but advertising board goes flying there. Somebody has hit it going side by side. It's still flopping all over the place. 37 minutes to go. Out of the pits comes Johannes Price, still in the lead, and there is Moritz Ulrich. Ulrich with the overspeed is going to go around the outside. So Johannes Price has actually jumped Lucas Seeder. You can see Seeder 9 seconds behind, just about to appear in the background, I believe. But Johannes Price, brilliant strategy, has brought him right into play, and he's on the softs. Could Johannes Price for Visceral Esports be about to steal the win from Ulrich if he's not careful here?
Never say never in the Spa-Francorchamps, because I think Johannes Price might actually be on the cusp to actually make a move and actually try to win this race from Moritz Ulrich.
Price, wasn't he like 13th on the grid? So not great qualifying the Peugeot, but the strategy's been excellent, and Price really defending well for sort of P5, P4 in those early couple of stints has really allowed him to save fuel and get in the mix here.
Yeah, it seems like Price is making a heroic comeback here in this race in Spa-Francorchamps. And now Perron trying to defend from Violo. Violo just trying to pounce on the pressure. And
Yellow
now we've got a yellow in sector 2. So it seems like it's Pia. So after Johannes Price.
He hits Price! Oh dear. And Pia sideways into the wall. Oh, not the first mistake that poor Pia has made today. So luckily Price seems to be all right, but Ulrich will feel a weaponized LMP2 may have damaged the 46 enough to mean that he's not under threat, or as big a threat as he thought he was.
Indeed, as Price seems to have no damage. He still keeps on going, but he's lost a bit of time from that. I think he's just trying to warm up the tires. Replay again as we see the overtake for the lead here. So we're gonna get a TV shot here and the onboard camera shot.
There is Price coming uphill there.
Yep, so Price comes out of the pits basically. Just right now gets ahead. Now Ulrich, having that overspeed, now takes the lead basically.
I think Moritz is a bit surprised to see him.
Yeah, Moritz will be asking himself, how has he gone up to second place after having a bad qualifying? And well, answer to that is very, very brilliant strategy calls here.
Yeah, and the fuel mileage really helping there, and it did some good pace while saving fuel as well. So Price now, 34 minutes to go. It may be the case that Ulrich has got the pace on him, but it could be interesting to see if Seeder can continue to lap quicker than Price as well, while holding off Valentin Barrier for P3. So it's Ferrari, Peugeot, and then 2 Cadillacs in the duel for the podium then. So could be very, very interesting indeed. So LMP2, Honzik has got into the race after his pit stop in P11. So he is sort of hoping those ahead run out of fuel effectively. He's been the first to commit to this extra stop strategy, whereas those ahead may well be saving fuel in LMP2. Currently, it's Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie still leading. We think he is on course for victory, 28 seconds to the good. So I think Ritchie could pit and still come out ahead of Honzik. But Coloxide, Banani, who were the first to pit in their particular stints as well, they could be really pushing it if they try and get to the end here.
Yep, as I also saw Price going wide, so he's over pushing it right now. And he's a bit impatient on trying to get by Ulrich. So it is not the way to go here, but you've got still over half hour on this race remaining. So, you know,
Lucas Congratel's going very long on the field here for Shadow One Esports. I wonder if he's going to pick maybe 30 minutes to go or something. But I wonder if Congratel's made it stop that I've missed somewhere. Then he was able to basically undercut Sidoruk, because we saw him overtake on the more used tires. There we go.
hello.
We are reminded of where we're at and the basic information that we already knew. So there we go. That's helpful for ladies and gentlemen everywhere. But here comes, that looks like DeRezzo about to lap Honzik here. So Jaroslav Honzik, what's his pace look like relative to the rest of the LMP2s? 207.1 last lap around. Cars ahead are doing 206.5s, 206.3s, 206.9s. So it could be, as the time screen's just gone down on me again at mid-sentence there, that
Oh no.
it could be then that Honzik knows, even with that earlier stop, he has to save it if he to get, or he's got a heavier car, period, whereas those up ahead are pushing to try and get the gap on him so they can come out at least, if not ahead of him, as close as possible. So there's still a lot to be played out here. Johannes Price, though, as you say, losing another second to Moritz Ulrich on this lap. Price really needed to come out ahead if he wanted to have any chance, I think, of fighting for the win.
Indeed, as Price really just trying to really get used to the soft tires as well, on his outlap as well, and just really trying to also push the limits and trying to get every bit of time towards Moritz Ulrich. And Ulrich currently leads by 3.7 seconds, but in the end, you got over half an hour to go as the times have stopped. So we've just lost the overlay. So technical difficulties.
Seems to happen every half an hour now.
Yeah, it seems like it. So apologies to everyone watching here at home, work, or wherever you are. But it seems like we're just having a bit of technical difficulties. But hey, at least we still have the cameras, so we see what's going on during
Let's
the
hope
race.
nothing important happens during this period. Yeah, but Congratel still pulling away from Sidoruk. If he has undercut somewhere and I've made a pit stop and we've missed it, this is a bit of a masterstroke. If not, then he could still be in a good position as we see all the lighting conditions change. So we're, I think, heading towards our final sort of weather slot number 5 at the race then, where we go from heavily overcast to mildly overcast then. So these headlights might be turning off anytime soon then, although it is going into the evening too, so maybe that's a factor as well. Sometimes you just keep the headlights on just for a little bit of fun, just to blind the person that you're trying to lap. But if they ever look in the rearview mirror anyway. So
Indeed.
Manisha, interestingly, while Sidoruk is losing ground to Congratel, Manisha is closing in again to the tune of 1.4 seconds. And what will be really interesting when we get to the closing stages is who has the virtual energy in the final part of the race and who does not. As we see, particularly in Hypercar and GD3, of course, Congratel 18% there, so he is risking it if he's going to try and get to the end there. Surely he will have to come in.
Yeah, surely he has to come in, but the thing is, if he's gonna do a lot of lifting coasting, he will not be able to win this race. So it's all to play here if he really wants to get this win, or actually salvage at least what I can say at top 6 at the moment. So Kaluxai takes the lead at the moment because Richie is in the pits at the moment, and now it's all to play for here. So this is the final pit stop that these drivers are starting to do, it seems like.
Yeah, we've seen so many fuel heartbreak stories at Spa, particularly in GD3, where people were hoping that the hypercars would not force another lap, and then they did, and found themselves on the wrong side of the leader at the end of the race, effectively too many minutes ahead of the finish line. So that could get really interesting. Nathan Perron and Marco Cantor fighting for P9 now. You can see Marco Cantor is sprinting up to the back of Nathan Perron now. And this
now,
could get really interesting.
Yep, and now Cantor just trying to pressure Perron, just having to wait till the Camel straight at the moment. And Perron's last lap was deleted because of the
track limits.
Yeah, track limits. So yeah, as you can see here, new class leader Kaluxai currently. Seems like Kaluxai might have to do another stop, but we don't know because there's no.
Well, him
there's
and
no
Banani
indication.
pit a lap earlier than the rest of the field, so you would think it's kind of inevitable. Here comes Cantor to the outside, wheel to wheel, down the Kemmel Straight. They go towards the braking zone. It is Nathan Perron that's got the inside, tries to force out Cantor. Cantor gets his nose alongside. We've seen him spin here before. Cantor is, not going to be shy. He's going to go full around the outside then through Malmedy and now downhill towards Bruxelles. It is Nathan Perron forcing again Cantor to go the long round, but the Italian, well, he has shown full bravery and commitment today. It's not always worked out for him for the pole sitter, but this time it does. He goes up the inside into Speaker's Corner and into P9. Nathan Perron had no option but to back out at the end of that sequence there. So, of course, Coloxide Banani now lead, but I am pretty confident Coloxide and Banani are really going to struggle to make it to the end unless they've done monster fuel saving. And 207.3 for Banani, 206.5 for Minio behind, and then 207.4 for Coloxide in the lead. Meanwhile, Richard's come out in P7, so a couple of positions ahead of Honzik, a good 10-15 seconds then. So those two we know have pit to get to the end, so it's a matter of what everybody in front of them is going to do next in that particular battle of a consequence then, as Honzik is trying to close in on Patrick Bugan, who lapped a 10th quicker than in the previous lap. But yeah, you can see the total number of stops. 3 stops for Ricci and 3 for Honzik there, as all Walsack, I think, is right behind Ricci, because Ricci's just gotten through, has he? Or is Walsack challenging him?
He has just gone through Walsack, so Ricci now up to 7th place for the moment, because Walsack really wants to get that place back. Now they're side by side.
Oh, this is not ideal for Ricci. There we go, round the outside. Maybe a little bit risking it on the fuel mix there for Gianluca Walsack. They've got Michele Teresa about to lap both of them in the 01 hypercar, which will split them up temporarily. We should deal with both of them before he gets to Origin Radion, rather than during, which is the least preferable option, having to lap an LMP2 car as a hypercar. But there we go. Walsack has got that position. Ricci really does not want this battle because it could lose time to all those pitting later. They will get shorter stops as well, as the other thing as well. So Ricci really needs to get a move on here.
Yeah, Ricci really has to get a move on
He
here.
did build a, what was it, 29-second lead before him, but that
Yeah.
you can't feel comfortable with that because that could disappear. We saw with Price how close he got to the lead there. He is now 6 seconds behind Ulrich and still about 3.5 ahead of Cedar then. So there could be a second place fight here. The 46 has got to keep pushing in these final 29 minutes to hold on to P2.
Indeed, as Price currently just 5.7 seconds behind Moritz Ulrich. And Ulrich currently just pretty much just settling in and preparing to push on, and then after that relax, because at the moment Moritz Ulrich might be on the cusp of winning this race, but I'll never say never, because anything can happen at this point, because Johannes Price is pretty much doing the best as he can. Last lap they were 3/10 apart.
Oh, look at this, getting a bit congested into the bus. Don't you go, Pisoni, lets the rear, the number 69, absolutely hang out as Niclas Ulrich takes to the run to avoid the 2 Porsches there. But Maxime Wendler sees his chance and kicked Leonardo Pisoni out of the top 10 there. So Totem Redstick Esports will not like that one bit, but Race Esports and the French team will absolutely be loving this. Wendler on a charge, next target, Vindele, who is about 1.2 seconds up the road in his Porsche.
Indeed, now Wendler really just having to push the car to its limits and just get away from Pisoni. Pisoni is really wanting to attack here, as Niclas Ulrich and also Niklas Henkel trying to battle here. I think Henkel just got through.
Oh, and you can see Violo right behind, almost taking advantage of that there. So really great freeway fight for 6th position between Niklas Henkel and Nicolas Ulrich. And then Simone Violo. Oh! And
Whoa.
Henkel hits is hitting the back by Ulrich through Brussels there. So Henkel struggling a bit on the soft tier.
Indeed, as Niklas is really just wanting to pull away right now, as there's an LMP2 ahead, and now Simone Violo currently just pouncing on the pressure, piling on every bit of pressure on Ulrich right now. And now well, with 23 minutes to go, it is all to play for here. Also, they have to strategize their virtual energy as well. If they're running low on them, the virtual energy, then it's time to really get a move on and really save it.
Oh, and just before we go too much further, there's a poll open up in the YouTube chat. I've just noticed, so with 20 minutes to go, might be a good time to vote for your Hymo Setups driver of the race. There's a poll for Hypercar and a poll for GD3. At the moment, your options are Ulrich, Price, Cedar, or someone else. Certainly, I think the top two, there's a great case to make for both Ulrich and Price. Ulrich controlling things around Price with the strategy. Yellow flag in sector 2. Somebody has come across somewhere. In comes Coloxine Banani. We knew this was going to happen 22 minutes to go.
Oh, it's Anthony.
Oh, dear. Pelletier from 6th position in class has gone off at the bus stop chicane.
So Pelletier going through.
Sutrishki's coming up the lap.
Yep, here we go.
Lost on his own under the brakes. The
And
rear
that is
brakes
a-
lock.
There's an odd angle to actually spin to, basically.
There's
But-
Banani. And of course, it will be Coloxine that gets out the end of the pit lane first. Walsack as well. There's Walsack, actually, sorry. Coming from his service as well. So this is going to put Richie into P5. Honzik, crucially, where is he? He's ahead of Walsack. He might have a chance of jumping Banani and Coloxine. Here we go. He gets past Banani. How close is he to Coloxine? I think is still coming to the end of the pit lane now. He should be ahead, Honzik. So he has maintained that net seconds so far. But the later these drives ahead pit, the more risk there is of being overcut here. So Honzik has got to continue to push on. 10 seconds behind Richie here.
Indeed, as currently Coloxine just still pretty much behind Honzik, and at the moment, as we move further ahead, Violo just still thinking of something, like trying to invent something just to get past Niclas Ulrich at the moment, as Ulrich really just trying to do the best he can, as well. At the moment, seems like Violo can't invent something to be faster with at the moment.
I mean, he has got the soft tires on. Ulrich and the mediums. Henkel actually seems to have got the softs under control. Bit of a lockup, though, for the Pulse Esports burnout driver as he tries to burn out the tires as well. 20 minutes to go. Race is not over yet, Niclas. As we see Violo going wide out of the bus stop chicane there. The lap times, Niclas Ulrich sets a 202.9 on the medium, so I think Violo a little bit quicker, but as you say, not able to get through. The problem is as well, Ulrich is getting a tow from Henkel as well, and they're about a good 13 seconds off of a barrier in P4. Then Cedar, by the way, is caught right up to the back of Johannes Price, who's been lapping about a second slower than the Reefer Oaks Esports driver. So there's a second place fight in Hypercar. Here comes our fight for P7. Violo looking up the inside, and surely this time it is going to be the Cadillac that gets through on the Toyota there. So inch perfect from Violo. He's back to the top 7 now, free to chase down Henkel for P6. But let's see if we can look at our P2 battle in Hypercar between Price and Cedar, as Duhamel, Ferte, and Pelletier finally come into the pits then. So this puts Richie into P2 and Honzik up to P3. Yep,
just was about to say that at the moment, Jade just enjoying currently his race after having a bit of a moment at the pit exit. Now just doing his best as he can at the moment. As well, at the moment, it's pretty calm up ahead, as Price has actually lost a lot of time most of these laps.
Yeah, 6/10 still ahead of Lucas Cedar then. So Johannes Price really starting to feel the heat from behind, as Violo now is rapidly caught up to Henkel then. So Simone Violo keeping the softs in better nick for this later phase of the race. Cedar on mediums versus Price's softs here. So this is just a case of the fuel allowed Price to have a bit of a shorter stop and leapfrog Cedar for position. But now Cedar has got the pace, has got the mediums that are working well, and he's got the Cadillac that is going to be. Of course, we saw Price can use his straight line speed to the Peugeot to defend his Simone. Minio is going to be the last of our holdouts in LMP2 to pit. So this will give Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci the lead once more. Minio will be interested to see, I think, It could be quite close between him, Kaloxai, and Banani then. In comes the Simin Reverb driver. He's coming to the middle part of the pit lane now with the hairpin of La Source. Minio's still in the lead at the moment. By ever decreasing margin. There is Jeffrey McGarino Richie. So has Minio maybe done enough here and saved enough fuel to have a really short stop at the end? Oh no, his pit lane's just a bit further down. There we go. Okay.
Oh.
So actually he hasn't done the stop yet. So through goes Jeffrey McGarino Richie any minute now. Honzik will follow 10 seconds later, followed by Kaloxai and then Banani. That 12-second gap between Kaloxai and Banani could be where Minio filters out here.
Indeed, now Jadia will be up to second at the moment, and at the moment in the LMP2 class, Minio now exits the pits at the moment, so Kaloxai will go through, and Banani possibly will go through as well. And who's the onboard with Banani now having to lap? I think it was.
There's Minio. He's a bit too far back. I think Minio might have him here. Meanwhile, Lucas Cedar is right behind Yanis Price in the fight for P2 in Hypercar. There we go, emerging out the pit lane. Banani just out of reach of Minio. Minio, if he can get the tyres up to temperature here, depending on whether or not he's changed them or not, he might just about be able to hold on into the braking zone at Lacombe. Banani can almost reach out and touch him, but it is going to be just a little bit too far back for the Race Esports man.
Yep.
There's our P2 fight. Look at this for Aruja Radion. And Price really struggling for Visceral Esports. To the outside comes the Referox of Lucas Cedar side by side for P2 at the top of Hypercar. This is going to be absolutely vital. Round the outside goes Lucas Cedar. Johannes Price did not have the exit that he needed there. You can tell the softs are just starting to fade in these final 16 minutes. So he's just got to hang on, Price, because Barrio is only about 6.5 seconds down the road from him.
Indeed, as Price really just sitting duck there at the moment, and now, well, we're seeing Violo and Kanta currently the closest ones on track at the moment. Not the best of friends, as I mentioned for like I don't know, many of those times.
Well, Violo is more focused on Henkel in front of him, and I don't think he's noticed that Cantor is past Niclas Ulrich and is now getting into play here. So we've got a four-way fight for P6 now. Essentially, between two people in the middle of it, two people who've already hit each other once in this race with big consequences. That's why they're fighting for P6 and not for the podium, essentially.
Indeed, as now Violo just trying to invent something, and there's a G3, one of the Lexuses. I think that's, well,
it's one of the Renovas.
Yeah, it's Panchy, I think. Yeah. So either way, now it's all to play for here for Violo. And now we go through the Piff Paff chicane. I actually just called that only. So
oh dear, looks like more stranglers in LMP2 realize they're not going to get to the end. Wengler and Moorkamp. So that's going to promote Duhamel and Luxak into 6th and 7th there. Pelletier's also pit, so he should gain a place out of this as well. Lucas Cedar 201.9. Johannes Price invalid lap time. So Cedar about half a second quicker than Ulrich, but the gap's 9 seconds. He's taken a couple of seconds out of the Ferrari, but Ulrich, with 14 minutes to go, he just has to keep it clean here, and I think he should be able to hold on. But Cedar, fair play to him, he's giving it all he's got. And speaking of which, Banani, the Italian, using everything at his disposal on that number 45 Race Esports team, LMP2, to try and get past the Simon Reaver of Simone Minio, who is got the fuel mix working in his favor. Michael Thomas gets in the way, and this is an opportunity for Banani up the inside into Puhan. Surely he'll have to back out there. Minio, just about sticks it on track there as well. That was very, very heart and mouth stuff. And they're still not done yet. There is Hutrishki blocking the way of Christian Banani, but Banani dives up the inside anyway. And Hutrishki will have to content with 6th position at the moment, holding off Michael Thomas, but up the inside defends Nicholas Henkel. Violo, just about on track, and Violo is getting desperate here. 13 minutes to go. He is craving that P6 and trying to really force a move on Henkel. And behind Violo, we got Cantor looking to take advantage. Around the outside goes Simone Violo, and he's going to run out of room here.
Yep, there was contact between those two, and Violo is just a bit frustrated because now there's Cantor behind him. So Violo really just having to get past Henkel. Just looking to the inside, but there is no overlap at the moment. So Henkel currently still holding on. So now Kanta and Viola are starting to scrap here because seems like Kanta is just getting closer and closer ever so slightly at the moment. Now we approach Stavilo, and Viola just wanting to pull away, but he cannot. So Kanta's just catching up bit by bit.
Henkel off track.
Yeah, Henkel was off track at the moment, so that will be another strike for him for track limits. And as there's a G3 in the way, and that's almost contact between a G3 and Viola as well. And Viola looks up a little bit. Now Kanta's going to go around the outside possibly on the pit stop chicane, but Viola holds on.
Yeah, that was Alessandro Alfano in the DC Racing Giala that had to sort of just keep predictable there in that BMW, the sort of bright pink one at the bright pink and blue BMW there. So yeah, there we go. Looks like our hypercars survived that one, but of course Henkel holding on to the lead by the skin of his teeth. Oh, the lead, by the lead I mean P6 of course, but that's still a load of points as we see. Oh, Viola being badly held up by the Shadow 1 Mustang, and through round the outside goes Kanta. Viola will not like that one for two very big reasons, I think there. One, he didn't want to happen to anybody, period, with the GT3 getting in the way at Orujan Radio. And two, he especially did not want it happen in a way that let Kanta through.
Indeed, as Kanta now up to P7 at the moment, and now Viola just frustrated with everything that's just happened. And now we get a replay of this. So basically, Kanta currently just behind, so this is the overtake for P7. So Viola gets pretty much held up by...
That's Congratel, yes.
Yep, Congratel, and there you go. And Kanta just going through.
Congratel P13 in class, by the way, behind Panchi and Vialard, as we see our class leaders, Ulrich, Ritchie, Sidoruk. Now, Sidoruk has actually pulled a 3.5-second gap to Manisha. It was about a second earlier that he got it back down to, but Sidoruk has struck back in the Aston Martin the last couple of laps. Artem Manisha not having a great lap, 2 minutes 21.1, Sidoruk 2 minutes 19.5. As we see, oh dear, that's the race leader Ulrich just about lapping Minio and Banani. It looks like Banani's got past Minio, but Minio was a little bit less delayed by the hypercar there, so he's going to get a run back around the outside for P4 in LMP2. So we're going to see a great fight here in the final 10 minutes between Banani and Minio. Banani's got the bit between his teeth now, made all that hard work to get into P4, and it's immediately snatched back away from him.
Dude, just Minio just trying to defend now, and we see a replay of the move from Banani.
Here we go.
Minio.
Oh, unusual to the outside through Paul Fred. That could become the inside for Blanchimont. So full risk from Banani. Minio finds himself having to go the long way round, and it is Banani putting a very, very incisive and well set up move there to get the 45 into P4. But of course, Morris Ulrich said, get out of the way. Banani, get out of the way. And Minio said, I'll go through too, if you don't mind very much. And I think he did mind.
And Minio just trying to hold up now Banani, and Banani just thinking where to pass again.
It's annoying because Banani sort of got outsmarted by the fuel strategy that Minio was doing. And now he's having to fight him for position, which is really allowing Coloxide to pull now about 12 seconds ahead, and he's doubled the gap, I think, in recent history then. So it does look like Jeffrey Magoarino Ritchie is going to win by about 13 seconds currently ahead of Jaroslav Honzik. Then as they lap Artyom Manisha do Minio and Banani. We're also going to keep half an eye on the Kanta, Henkel and Violo battle. They're all still within about a second of each other. And yeah, Niclas Ulrich just about 1.8 behind all three of them then. As, oh, race control penalty for Mikolaj Hutrishki in P7. So clearly he has cut the track somewhere and gotten in trouble for that. He had just lost position to Michael Thomas as well. So that's really disappointing. Clearly the heat exhaustion forcing mistakes out of drivers late in the race.
Yep, just a bit frustrating for Krzyzewski as well, but now we see the battle between 6th and 7th, Henkel versus Kanta. Now Cantor trying to go down his.
Oh, he spun him!
No!
Oh dear, Henkel
Oh,
defending
dear.
P6 for so long finds contact with Cantor, who's already maybe in a little bit of trouble today. Might have another incident being reported against him, but either way, Violo is the beneficiary, gets back through into P6, and he will feel there's a sort of karmic justice in there somewhere.
Indeed, as we see.
It was a very light touch though. I thought he just avoided it, but then round went Henkel. Let's see.
Yeah, I thought it was no contact, but it seems like it was in the end. So now let's see, going through the bus stop chicane. And here we go. Here's a turn in, but we don't see where.
You can just see. Oh, if it's a touch, it's the slightest of touches. It could also be that Henkel just spun up the rear tires. But either way, right in the path of Cantor, and that allows Violo to nip back for all. Though having said that, Cantor has slipstreamed his way back into P6 while we were watching that replay, I believe.
And now Cantor is actually, well, has actually made another friend, it seems like.
So that'll be two right in front of him. It's the same friend, him and Violo swap positions there, I think. So yeah, they've actually, you're right, they've actually caught up to Paul Koch in all of this in the Visceral, who is lapping in the 203.8s. So Koch is only right in front of them now, I think.
Indeed.
Is he? I thought it was like 96 there. Maybe it's my timing screen malfunctioning here. Yeah. Because I'm not sure what I'm seeing there. Oh, and up the inside, it is Paul Koch. Okay, so there we go. That is about 19 seconds up the road then. So it's malfunction. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Sorry, Niclas, I had to redirect my sentence halfway through, which is not easiest to do. All right, okay, so 6 minutes to go, and this P6 battle, Paul Koch crosses the line now, so it's a 201.8, but Violo now having to defend from Niclas Ulrich as they have got an LMP2 to deal with just in front of them, which looks like Wolzak, I believe, is himself trying to keep Ferte behind in the rearview mirror. You can see there is Ferte in the 253. Oh, a little bit of almost contact between Niclas Ulrich and Wolzak, but disaster averted for the time being. It looks like it's all spread out in GD3. The gap's still relatively stable between Sidoruk, Manisha. Closest fight is really Michael Thomas and Julian Heno, but that penalty for Hitrushki has dropped him well outside of the points paying positions now.
Yep, and this is a move for...
a bit forced around the outside there. But Banani.
There was a bit of cutting there from one of the Ferraris. I think that was Paul.
Here we go. This is Henkel, who has fallen into the clutches of Perron after that spin. Had to cut the track. Or you can't do that too many times. Can you get your penalty? And that has given a free position to Nathan Perron back to P9. And certainly Perron could do with some good luck, given how up and down his race has been.
Indeed, and now in the mix of that, now Violo just still hardly under pressure with Kant at the moment. But as we see the race leader with 4 and over a half minutes to go, Moritz Ulrich and Lucas Seider will be leading on with a Refrox 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, Virtual Energy could be really interesting here, along with, of course, Fuel. Sidoruk in GD3 17.6, Artem Manisha 15.7. Certainly drivers in GD3 they've got more than others, and meanwhile in Hypercar, Cedar has probably got the least 12.9% at the moment, so it should be enough, but you never know if Ulrich is going to force that extra lap or not. We could be in a bit of a tight situation here, because it takes just over 2 minutes to do a lap here, and we're about halfway through this particular one.
Yep, and currently we're seeing another replay. It seems like it's Rate now.
That's Gabo Paul behind.
Gabo as well.
And Rate just completely turns the wrong way and loses the rear wing at the 1111. So that has cost Rate, I believe, a shot at maybe P11 in this one.
Indeed, and now Rate's again caused another yellow flag in
trying to get back to the pit lane, I think, in the final 3 minutes.
Yep. Seems like he spun out basically and stopped at the side of the track, and now he got back going. for the moment.
That is merciful. Shouldn't be too long a trip to get back in the pit lane. So a couple of fights going on here. We've got Cantor, Violo and Cantor very close together, about a second apart, and Ulrich then just another 9 or 8 tenths behind, and then Perron, who is catching all of them, but he's running out of time to make the moves here. Minio is still about 4 tenths behind Bernani, but Bernani's just about got the legs on him at the present moment. And then in GD3, we've got a huge battle. Maxime Wendler under attack from Windele. Windele up the inside into Malmedy, and now trying to complete the move, but it is going to be Maxime Wendler that's got the overlap because he's Personi behind, and there's Pia on the inside, and oh my goodness me, that was very sensible from Corbini and Windele backing out there rather than going free wide through Brussels, and now that excites Leonardo Personi in his final 2 minutes, can see a chance to maybe get into P8 or P7 here, but they've got to be careful of their virtual energy.
It's an old Porsche battle at the moment, but my goodness gracious, that was nearly a recipe for disaster, basically. So at the moment, now we see Banani and Minio. Minio gets lapped by the hypercar of, it seems like it's Cantor.
That's Barrier.
Oh, Barrier. My apologies. And Banani right now just getting held up by the LMDH of Barrier. And
Barrier living up to his name, unfortunately, although he's driven very well in P4.
A moving barrier, just saying.
Well, he's certainly quite a good defensive driver, and he's had to be with that name. But Giuseppe Di Noi, by the way, 10th by Nicholas Henkel in the final position in the top 10 then. So Henkel having seen Perron pass, and Perron's got the 15-second gap. Michele de Rezo causing a brief yellow flag right in the final minutes of the race there. This is de Rezo, who was right behind Di Noi.
Let's see.
So my tongue's going to line to me again. So yeah, he's hit the back of him, and that's led the number 0 to a spin at Le Source. That's not a good place to be stuck, to be fair. So he's got going again fairly quickly. 1 minute left to go in this one, and where is Moritz Ulrich on the circuit? I believe he is just coming through Blanchimont now. So he should be about to start what will be the final lap then. So big concerns for Lucas Cedar, who's on 6.3% of virtual energy at the moment.
Now Cedar has to really save that virtual energy as well, just to still keep that P2 at the moment. And for the moment, we're seeing Banani and Minio battling for P4 at the moment. So Banani currently just under pressure with the final lap coming in. Now just trying to hold up Minio.
The thing that's helped Simone Minio here is that by pitting later, he knew exactly how much he needed to put in, so he's probably light fueled the car. As is Ulrich, yeah, he's in the middle of what will be the final lap then. So one excellent performance as Nathan Perron has passed Niclas Ulrich for P8 in the background there. So excellent job there, as we have got our votes in for the driver of the day in both classes, or well, in both LMP2 and Hypercar, but not yet GD3s. There is Nathan Perron now fending off Niclas Ulrich as they start the final lap there. Didn't look like anybody voted in the GD3.
Yeah, nobody voted for GD3.
I guess they want to see how it ends before they decide. But either way, Niclas Ulrich will get a bit of a tow here. Moritz Ulrich is somewhere out on track at the moment. Probably just coming through sector 2 and 3 now. And side by side, it's going to be all right the outside. Oh, they come together, and round goes Niclas Ulrich there, trying to turn him from the outside. Fortunately, Perron was already there. I think that'll be a bit of a tricky one to judge. Villiard has also gotten a penalty, I believe, for track limits. Everybody running dangerously low on energy. Lucas Cedar, 2.7%. He will have to crawl over the line. We are not far away from seeing Ulrich win this one, but here's a replay of what happened then, Juho.
So here we go. So side by side between those two Toyotas, and oh my goodness me. Yeah, Ulrich just lost it on the braking, just pressed too much of that brake pedal.
And over the line comes Moritz Ulrich to win the first Contender Split Hypercar race of the season. Brilliant performance from the German. Lucas Cedar coasts over the line to take P2, and there your LMP2's coming over the line. It will be Honzik that finishes P2 before Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie, who's still on the lead lap at the moment. Koloxai will take P3 to round out the podium from Banani and Minio then in a great little battle. Our first ever LMP2 race in VMS. Of course, they will be in the top split next time around. There is Sidoruk, who's still up 2.7 ahead of Manisha here. Look at the virtual energy as well for these two. Manisha has got a 2%, Sidoruk 3.9%. So Mark Sidoruk should be okay here. Julian Hanno 2.7%. He's the only one that might really hit worry in this final lap. Leonardo Pisoni and P9 also on 2.7% as well at the present moment.
Indeed, now they're just starting to go through 63 and going through Blanchimont and rounding out also the LMHs. Not only that, with Ulrich and Cedar going in 1-2, it's a Refrox 1-2 as well. So Sidric now coming across the line to win in the LMGT3 class, and then Manisha will come home second, and then further down the road it will be possibly Kolosov in third place, and here comes Kolosov as well. So seems like it has been a pretty quiet race for Kolosov, going up to P3.
Well, I'm sure the Russian won't mind too much. Look at this move up the inside, but it won't matter. That is just Richie lapping the number 823 there. Towards the line, he comes, and Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie will be our first LMP2 victor in VMS. He puts his name onto the winner's trophy and into history there. A brilliant performance there from JMRR. To win by a whole 13 set, or a whole lap actually, in the end over Jaroslav Honzik. Then he just really controlled that one. No matter what Honzik did in the strategy, Richie had him covered. Indeed,
as what a race it has been, Edward.
Indeed it has. That's a very good point, Juho. So, Moritz Ulrich, after 70 laps, is our winner. A good 8.5 seconds ahead of Lucas Cedar as they cross the line. Johannes Price, with that strategy gamble, still gets him onto the podium. So I think a brilliant performance from Price. Couldn't quite hold on to P2 from the ruthless Lucas Cedar. But as you say, Rifforox 1-2. Visceral P3, although they did take a 1-2 in GD3 to lick their wounds on that front. Valentin Barry gets Opolate's best result to date in 4th position in the hypercar class in contender split, and Paul Kosh is a P5, a relatively after the first stint, Paul Kosh didn't have a whole lot of fighting to do. He was really just consolidating that P5. With the real battle was for P6 with Marco Cantor triumphing on the road from Simone Violo. Then it was Nathan Perron with that late charge to P8, beating a similar Toyota of Niclas Ulrich after controversial contact on the final lap between those two, and Nicholas Henkel will round out the top 10 for Polestar Racing. Giuseppe Di Noia falling to P11 by the end, so no points for him. Nor for Michele De Rezo, Robin Duchamp, Gabor Pour, Daniel Marcen, or for our non-finishers in hypercar, Benjamin George, Alphonse Velen, Alex Guidi, Sani Raimondo, Quentin Jure, Eric Notsold, and Alexander Mardukovic. So, moving on then, as Nicholas Domino pressing all the buttons to try and keep up with me, we have our first ever LMP2 race, which ends with Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ritchie, the Dutch Rubian, taking victory after 68 laps. Jaroslav Honzik, Jardier takes P2 on his first appearance in VMS, and then David Koloxai rounds out the podium. So that is quite the stacked podium of talent there. Christian Banani just misses out, but does at least beat Simone Minio with a late pair of moves on him. Minio doing a good strategy at the end to get up the order. Thomas Duhamel, P6, a very clean race for the 91 on the whole. And Anthony Pelletier will take 7th, with Jordi Ferte in the 253 8th, Gianluca Valsac 9th, and Mathis Crochet rounding out the top 10. Crochet, of course, with that early dive on the pole sitter that did not end particularly well, from having to recover his drive up to P10. Evan Wengler takes P11 from Johan Moorkamp, both of them missing out on the points. Gregor Luxak, 13th. Luxak's race sadly sort of fell apart as it went on. Pia finishing P14th, last of the finishes. Matis Vrate also retiring with Patrick Bugan. Fata Motibatse, a pole sitter, of course, will be reeling from the contact with Cruciate. That was a day that promised so much for Motibatse. And in the end, he comes away with a retirement. Alexander Radoshevitz also failing to get to the end, along with Moritz Krupp. Finally, our GD3 field, it was, of course, Mark Sidoruk, who took victory by was it 3.5 seconds? Was it 5 seconds in the end ahead of Artyom Manisha? Then Sidoruk really took the lead from Manisha at the start. We thought Manisha was going to man a move. He never quite got close enough to do so. So Sidoruk had him covered, did the German, and he takes his first VMS class win in Contender. Vladislav Kolosov takes another podium to add to his collection for the Russian in the Lexus. Strindra Zaranovic fought through to get to P4. Julian Henno, also a good drive to finish P5. Michael Thomas, a few good moves, gets him to P6. Maxim Vendela is 7th in the first of our Porsches. Then it's Corbinian Wendele, Leonardo Pisoni, and Mattia Panci who round out the points scorers. Behind them, we have Lucas Congratel with the alternate strategy. He led up until the final 25 minutes or so. Alessandro Alfano takes P12 from Tom Villiard, who had a penalty late on. Davide Canton, also our final finisher, but Nikolai Hatrishki, he had a penalty too while looking for good to finish in the top 10. So disappointment for the pole. A very hot race comes to nothing for some of our Eastern Europeans, sadly. Kilian Adolphus, Kevin L. Mokhtari, Filivio Di Polito, Leo Alain, Bram van der Tang also failing to get to the checkered flag. And I believe that is everybody. So it's either going to be a very empty, well, we're a very busy one, given we had 3 classes, Juho, and it's one of the hottest days of the year. So we have got, let's see, we've got Christian Benani from LMP2, who was 4th. We've got Lucas Cedar, and we've got Moritz Ulrich. Who shall we go for first, Juho? Shall we go for one of our LMP2s, given it's our first opportunity?
Actually, let's go for the LMP2s, actually.
Okay, so let's talk very briefly now to Christian Benani, the Italian, joins us now. Christian, first off, congratulations on P4. A very interesting race. You and David Koloksai deciding to pit a lap before some of the others, and then and the final stint, you found Simone Minio emerging just in front of you from the pit exit, and you had a great fight with him for P4, with you eventually coming out on top then. That must have been a bit tense from where you were sitting.
Yeah, first of all, good evening to everyone who is watching. And yeah, thank you about the results. I thought I would have get P3 towards the midpoint of the race, but I don't know why and how. I still have to figure that out. I lost like 12 seconds into the pits, and that put me on the back foot for the podium. And also, yeah, it has been a really great fight with Simone in the last 20 minutes. Really hard and fair.
Well, we very much enjoyed it too. So first ever VMS race in with the LMP2s involved, as well as our GT3s and hypercars. What's your verdict, Christian? Because being stuck in the middle is not always the most fun sensation, but the LMP2s looked very fun to drive.
Yeah, actually, I really like being in the middle class, trying to manage both the slower traffic and the faster traffic. Lately I've been racing a lot with LMP3s, so I kind of got that traffic management, and also I really like the driving style of the LMP2, so couldn't go wrong.
Juho, any questions for our 4th place finisher in LMP2?
Hi, Christian. It was looking to be a really great race for you, but also, well, regarding the question to next race, what are you looking forward to, and what is your aim on to Silverstone?
It's Le Mans is their next one for the LMP2s. That's with because they joined the Pro Series
for
2 races. So they're actually going back to Spa later on, 13th September. Next one, 19th of July for the LMP2s.
Well, Le Mans then, basically you have a break, basically, and what would you aim for Le Mans, basically, to be fair?
Well, the objective is always the same, try to win the race, but after today's race, I wanna get the podium that I didn't got today.
for sure. Right. Thank you, Christian Banani,
Thank you.
and
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we've enjoyed having
Yeah.
you. So, yeah, best of luck next time we see you, Christian. And yeah, we miss you in the top split, so we'll be very glad to welcome you back with open arms in
Thank you.
a month's, just under a month's time, 3 weeks.
Yeah, can't wait.
Me neither. Well, thanks, Douglas, and we'll let you go and celebrate that P4.
Thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Since it's Referox Esports, should we drag both Lucas Cedar and Moritz Ulrich in at the same time? And
go ahead.
yeah. So we're now joined by our first and second place finishers in Hypercar. It is our winner, Moritz Ulrich, and our runner-up, Lucas Cedar. So since Lucas has muted himself, let's go for Moritz first. Oh, Moritz. So you qualified, let's go all the way back to the start of the race. You qualified P3, going for the medium tires, interestingly, and then it quite literally opens up for you when the two leaders hit each other. And from then on, you really control things from the front. From your perspective, it's just an absolutely dream day.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was a bit surprised that so many people took softs for the quali, and also about the pace of them in the race. I never expected them to be that strong. Probably had to do a bit with the cold conditions, but it was actually very surprising. But also, yeah, very lucky with them. With I think it was Contender and someone else, don't remember. It was quite a long time ago, crashing each other out. Because it would have been very, very hard to get past the Cadillacs because they had way better top speed.
Yeah, he did, I think, make a little bit of contact through Fanier just after his earlier incident as well with Violi, wasn't it? So 50 drivers, hard to remember all their names. But anyway, of course, I think this is your second podium in Contender, because you took one last season as well, but your first ever win as well. Okay, yeah. It's maybe your third one then. You've taken other podiums, you haven't won before, unless my memory fades. So this is a big deal for you and for your new Referox team, of course. Yes, with Lucas backing you up in P2 then. So obviously, like I say, a dream day. How much does it mean to you?
A lot. Like, the car felt amazing the whole race. I literally didn't have a single issue with it. I think I made one mistake the whole race, despite the temperatures. I was super focused. The car just allowed me to do everything, and yeah, that led me to victory. I'm super happy about it.
Awesome. Juho, any questions for our race winner in Hypercar?
Well, Moritz, congratulations on your win. But during this time for Silverstone, we'll be looking forward to absolutely dominate that race again.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Ferrari is quite strong there. Have to see a little bit about Bob, but yeah, definitely will put everything into it again and try to win that as well.
Righty. Thank you, and congratulations as well. Really well deserved.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. So let's move on then to your teammate, Lucas Cedar, who is joining us now. So, Lucas, a very exciting race for you, of course, because not only were you able to sort of keep pace with Moritz and take advantage of some of the chaos in the first stint, but then there was Johannes Price coming out the pits in the Peugeot ahead of you in the final stint. You needed to catch and pass him, which was quite exciting from your point of view. I imagine probably a little bit annoying, given the job that you felt you'd done up to that point in the race.
Yeah, I'm honestly quite shocked with being there, because I didn't expect him to be there. I saw he was like 30 seconds behind in the second stint. So when he emerged out of the pits in front of me, I was like, damn, I really need to get it on and get to pass him, because I was ready to switch into management mode. But yeah, thankfully his tires were old, and I managed to catch and pass him pretty easily. And yeah, the chaos you mentioned in the first stint, I mean, yeah, honestly, I could have qualified a lot higher if I just managed a good lap. But seeing the chaos, I was very lucky to get through it unharmed. I don't think I've had any contact. So yeah, I'm just really happy that I managed to finish the race, and even in this good position.
Yeah, of course. It's I think your best result today in Contender split, of course, Lucas.
I think it is, yeah.
Because we did see you on the podium in third, I think it's Sebring last season, if memory serves.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So next up, of course, Silverstone. Are you feeling confident about that one then? Much shorter race, mercifully.
Not too confident, honestly, because I know how good Moritz is around there, and I know that Ferrari is good around there. But I'll try my best. I'll practice a lot, and hopefully I'll get some good points out of that.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. So, any final questions for Lucas before we let him go?
Well, Lucas, congrats on the P2, and that's basically a 1-2 for Refrox. So, for Silverstone, we'll be looking forward to giving your teammate a bit of a battle for the win.
I hope that I can do that, but as I said before, I know Moritz is a beast around there. The Ferrari is good around there, so I mean, as I said, I'll try my best, but I'll be happy with the top 5, honestly.
Don't scare Abe. That's the thing. But yeah, congratulations, and well deserved.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, as Refrox Esports celebrate their first ever 1-2 in the Contender split, you can see the calendar for the rest of the Contender season in 2 weeks' time. 12th of July at Silverstone will be the next round. Barcelona, 26th of July will be round 3. Fuji will be round 4 on 23rd of August. We've got Paul Ricard on the 6th of September, followed by a round in the USA. That must be Circuit of the Americas, I believe, on the 20th of September. Bahrain on the 4th of October. And we have a final joint endurance round with the LMP2, with the Contender Series, and the LMP2s will finally be reunited on the 18th of October for their finale at Le Mans, finale for both classes, of course. So that concludes everything from pretty much everything from Contender, must be said. We have also got next week, the Pro Series is back with a round at Silverstone on the 5th of July. It's Silverstone crazy at the moment, isn't it? It feels like
Yeah.
We've got the real life British Grand Prix, we got Contender, and then we've also got this. So if you like Silverstone, you're going to be enjoying yourself. And of course, those who are watching Tier 1 will have already seen some Silverstone action back on the 19th of June already. Other than that, we have got Bahrain Tier 2 action on the 10th of July. Tier 3 have got a race at Fuji on the 1st of July. Tier 4's next round is Interlagos Endurance Round on the 8th of July. We also got, and just for completion's sake, I'll mention a Tier 5, which also is around at Fuji on the 1st of July. Not all these will be broadcast, of course. We've got next LMP2 round, as I mentioned earlier, Le Mans joining with the Pro Series on 19th of July. So they'll join for round 4 of that particular championship with myself and hopefully Chris Buxton will be joined for that one. But Juho, any final thoughts before we close the broadcast and end what's been a very, very long, very, very hot day?
What a start to the season it has been for the Contender Series as well. And it's a very great start for Refrox Esports as well. I mean, a shame to see one of their cars out, but at least a 1-2 finish for them. And also, this will be a very good season after all. What's going to happen here in the next few races, but stay tuned.
So there you go. Just a reminder, congratulations to our first ever LMP2 winner, Jeffrey Miguel Reno Ricci from Shizu Seda's Igniters, the Dutch Ruben who's won in the LMP2 class. And for Contender, of course, congratulations again to Moritz Ulrich and Refrox Esports for their 1-2 with Lucas Cedar backing him up. And then in GD3, it was a Visceral Esports 1-2, of course, with our two drivers, of course, being, let me just try and remember the names. I know it was Mark Siderick, of course, winning the German in the Aston Martin, and his teammate, our pole sitter, Artyom Manisha, back him up in P2. So that's all from me. I'd like to thank you to you, Juho, for joining us, to Ollie Smith for filling in a bit earlier during qualifying, and to Niclas Domino on broadcaster action. Thanks to everybody who took part in searing temperatures. Please make sure you drink some water and have a lie down after that one. And thank you to everybody for watching. That's all from us. Good night.